Remember, you are the dream awakening to itself. Aloha, shifters, light guardians, dreamers across this beautiful holographic matrix. Thank you and welcome back once again, or perhaps for the first time, to our Paradigm Shift Central weekly team podcast. This week's team podcast is another one of our infamous Paradigm Shift Central Dream Class podcasts. We've been doing these since 2015. We usually do it every few months. This is an opportunity for us to be able to practice having discussion about dreams, lucid dreams, dream experiences, theories, tips, all the many exciting discussions to be able to help support and encourage you on your practice of dream exploration and dream meditation and dream yoga and all of those super exciting topics. So real quick, I'm joined once again by some fellow amazing leading members, our paradigm shifters on air. So fellow leading members, I'm just going to invite you to gently unmute your microphones as we welcome everyone and say hello to all the beautiful, amazing people tuned in. So you guys are welcome to just unmute your microphone and say aloha and send some noise, do some little wolf howls, whatever you guys want to do. We love you guys. Dream noises. I love whatever comes out of it when we do that. It's like we don't plan that too far ahead, so beautiful. All right, so just moving right into things here, keeping an eye on the time. I do want to be able to just kind of like move through to be able to honor that we do have a couple people, Joshua and Peter as well, who have to head out a little bit early. So we're going to go over just like real quick, again, all the links that you need for the Paradigm Shift community. You can find that in the info for this video, including our team Discord. You can join the Patreon to become a leading member to join on air for our team podcast, get full access to the Discord and all the other awesome things to support there. All the people that you'll see on air, you'll be able to find their links posted into the info for this video after the initial recording, and we encourage you to be able to connect further with them. As well as you can find us on Spotify, Paradigm Shift Radio, and you can find all the past Paradigm Shift episodes as well as a Paradigm Shift Dream Class episodes specifically, and you'll find the links for those in the info for this video, as I already mentioned. So with that said, let's just kind of take a moment here to be able to just do a quick little meditation as we just drop into our heart space, set that intention, and then we'll get right into the discussion. So just inviting everybody here to just take this opportunity to gently just close your eyes and just connect with your breath. And as you just breathe here, breathe in the fullness of this moment. And just allow yourself to bring yourself into the space of gratitude. Gratitude for yourself for showing up. Gratitude for the community. Gratitude for the wisdom we are here to share. And you can imagine all of us just sitting in this circle together here to be able to have this discussion, to be able to hold space, to be sacred mirrors, and to be able to learn from the stories that we carry. And so as you just imagine all of us sitting in this circle, just taking this opportunity to just look around and you see the magic in each and every single person here. You see yourself looking back. You see the dream looking back. And as you breathe into this heart space, allow yourself to be able to speak any gratitude from your heart to all the hearts of the people tuned in right now, expressing what it means to be in this space with them, just sharing in this excitement and this love. Just continue here with some gentle breaths as we slowly get ready to be able to conclude this brief, gentle meditation. Just bringing us into this heart-mind coherence and continuing to hold this image and this intention of this circle within our hearts and within our mind as we move through this discussion to be able to help support each other on our journeys together. When you're ready, slowly you can bring your awareness back to your physical body while continuing to be aware of your breath. When you're ready, gently wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, and slowly open your eyes and return your awareness to the space around you. Beautiful. Welcome back, everyone. So let's get right into things. Paradigm Shift Dream Class. As I've said, this is a topic that we've done numerous times within this community. It's something that I'm personally fascinated in. It's something that I'm fascinated to be able to help create space for, because I feel there's so much wisdom that comes through our dreams and such a lack of importance put on the practice of dreams within kind of mainstream culture. So this is really like the revolution in action by us being able to create this space to talk about the practice of dreams and how it goes hand in hand with the shift in consciousness, and how literally in us sharing hearing these stories, it's also an opportunity to be able to document what is happening for ourselves as multidimensional beings, and what dreams can teach us, and how we can learn more about ourselves, and how we can continue to, again, just be able to see the bigger picture of everything that's unfolding around us. So with that said, we'll pass it right over to Joshua and Peter, just since they do have to head out a little bit early, and if they come back a little bit later, that's totally cool. And with that said, Joshua, Peter, you guys are welcome to gently unmute your microphones. Thank you so much for being here. Joshua, Peter, old friend of mine. Joshua, one of the newer members getting involved with our community, but also old friends with Peter, and super excited to be able to have you two here. So when you're ready, please feel free to gently introduce yourself, and from your heart speak about why dreams and the study of dreams are something important to you. So when you guys are ready, go right ahead and welcome.
How's it going, guys? Pleasure to meet you. Awesome. So from our perspective, Joshua and I are co-authors in Into the Mythica, which is a publishing platform which showcases the journey of manifestation, which is the journey of divining your path and then acting on those divinations to transform your inner energies and thus transform your outer energies. And as we do that, we have a very deep relationship with the art of how the universe is speaking back to us as to what wants to be born through us. The dream that wishes to be dreamt, the dream that wishes to awake within us. And in this, we have a recognition that the divination of that inner dream occurs both in the waking world and in the dreaming world, which occur for us as different ways of dancing with the language of love that is our own sacred mirror in the universe. And on a deeper level, that the act of manifestation is the application of divination. Something came to me in a dream, or something came to me in the dream of life. I interpreted it a certain way. It affected my energy a certain way. Now I'm asserting my energy in a certain way. I'm making a choice to move towards that dream that I have divined. And thus the recognition of the substance of the world of dreams and the dream of the world is an ever deepening gnosis into the distillate of magic herself. So for us, that divination is constant and is married to the dance of action itself.
Well said. As you were saying that, I was having an image of that we're always in the dream. That's why I love how Brendon, you opened the space. It's like we're the dreamers awake. We're dreaming awake the dream, and it's like the sleep. Whether we're looking at the dreams that we're having while we're sleeping or the dreams that we're having in our waking, I see them as mirrors of the same thing. For the deeper that we journey towards source, the source of our stories, the source of our dreams, we see that the waking world and the world that we enter in our sleep are mirrors of the same thing. We are the individual facets of the great dreamer, the great architect of, like, if you look at Inception as a great movie, as an example of the journey down to the layers of the subconscious. It's like the great architect of all of our dreams of creator it's like it's the prime inception. It's the Promethea. It's our myth. It is the fire spark that moves through all of us. And I feel that our dreams and when we sleep are the manifestation of our inner world, of the underworld, the underpainting of the waking world. And they carry messages for us. They carry messages of the intelligence of our heart, of our unconscious, of our subconscious, of our shadows, our demons, our trials, our desires, what it is we care for. And that as we learn to deepen our awareness, we see that the messages that come to us in our dream are not separate from the meaning that we assign to our waking life. And I feel that even on another level, you look at like the oracular arts or the arts of divination are really an investigation. I mean, that's where you get prophetic dreams. People have dreams of things before they happen. You know, why does that happen? Well, everything is connected in the field of consciousness. It's ultimately dreaming is a way of looking at, we're accessing the Akasha.
Exactly. And of course, the Akasha is the space in which everything is happening, in which the world of dreams and the dream of the world are made of the substance of consciousness itself. And so when we make divinations into the world of dreams, it is for us the ripple back from the substance of the ocean of consciousness that is speaking to us in that manner, and it's happening in the Akasha. And this is where you get the idea of and the awareness of the Akashic record, the Akashic timeline, the record that is rippling out its sound vibration across the ethers of the Akasha and back again. We are reading our own story, gradually divining the symbols and portents of the substance of the world of dreams and the dream of the world, in which we ourselves are the embodiments of certain aspects of that subconscious world. We are the pantheon of ourselves, gradually coming to coherent divination of those ethers in the Akasha that make up the awakening within the dream and the potency of our own guidance. So dreams are at the essence of our divination into ourselves, into our personal story, into our Akashic thread through the grand space of the creation and how she speaks back to us, informing us about ourselves and the virtue that lay within us. That's what I'm on about.
That's beautiful. And again, as much as you guys feel you have time to stick around, you just let us know. And I love the idea of approaching dreams as like a form of divination. You know, like this idea that we've kind of created this construct within society where we think that dreams are kind of like something auxiliary, something extra, something that's more of just like a side effect of having a human body with a brain, and there's like a scientific biological explanation that just kind of explains to us why they are. But again, kind of going in side by side with what you're saying, it's like, no, like dreams are actually at the core. Dreams are like where everything emerges from. Like dreams are like the immediate nucleus. And so it's like this idea of like, oh, if that's the case, then how can we actually develop a practice where we are developing a relationship with dreams to be able to help, like a form of divination, be able to help receive this additional guidance, which will assist us on this path. I feel that dreams are constantly, again, a way for spirit, source, consciousness, our higher self, our bigger self, the oversoul, to be speaking through us. But the big question is, are we listening? Like a student, are we paying attention? So again, I'll just pass back to you guys real quick, and then we'll pass it around and get a few more thoughts in here. But on that context, how do you feel that we can show up as students better within our dream practice? If there's something there that might even just kind of spark some ideas for you guys to inspire people listening. Either or.
Like the reverberations. We move from the center of the intelligence of the heart as the access point to the quantum field. We are in a relationship with everything as the field. We are in a relationship, we're in a dialogue with the universe. We're in a dialogue with spirit, in which we develop a two-way channel of both. We are like a tuning fork transmitting a frequency. But if you ever look at, like, you know, two tuning forks that are in resonance, if you were to strike one and not strike the other, you could listen and it will reverberate. Meaning there's already a divine design to your tuning fork, to your unique resonance and vibration, that is the seed of the dream that the divine is dreaming through you. And so it's already happening. Like the dream that God's desire for your life is already within you. It's just learning to tap into it.
An applied thing with this, and this is actually core to what we do in the Mythica and what we're presenting in the Mythica, which is that what are we doing when we're cultivating a practice? You are deepening the substance of the impressions of something into the dream of the world, such that you become more adept at it. You bring focus into it, it gains strength, it gains potency, it gains gravity. And then you have a deeper manifestation of that thing. Everyone's feeling me in that one, right? You're feeling it and it just keeps growing. Okay, cool. I felt that. And so the context is that the way in which we live our life is the way in which we live our life. And so when we set the context of our life as a journey of mystical cultivation, and we set the context of our life as a journey of manifestation, now that context brings everything else into alignment.
Somebody asked a question too.
Can dreams answer life's questions, or do they supplement? It's the same thing, because the dream itself is the question and the interpretation. So it's any act of divination. The entry point of the dream is a different entry point to the same action of asking your subconscious something or asking the universe to show you a sign. Like, all of these things are an engagement with the thing. And so it's really about the ongoing discernment of what's actually going on. You know, when you react to something, you think something's absolutely a certain way, but then it turns out to be a trigger, right? And then you're moving through that and you're gradually having a discernment into that. Or you didn't see something a certain way, and then later something resolved, real talk, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, wait, that was a blessing. I was tripping. Okay, right? And so, for real, I've been there. And it's real life. And the whole thing is, it's about divination. And so it's like, as a context, when we see our life, it's a meta spell. When we see our life as a mystical journey, Brendon, you felt me, right? I felt that in the field, right? When I said that, I felt you like ping with that, right? When we're in that meta understanding, which is so great, because this is actually what Paradigm Shift Network does and what Into the Mythica does. It's part of the same thing. Is when we see ourselves in that context, all of a sudden there's gravity to the context of paying attention to our dreams. Because now you're in the understanding, and it becomes more of a motivating force, because it becomes a lifestyle. And in doing so, you're deepening into the right. I'm working with my dreams to identify my sacred purpose, which is speaking to me through my dreams. I'm going to actively engage in the heroism of my own inner journey, knowing that as I clear this, it clears that. As I clear the inner thing, it clears the outer thing. That is the law. And so as I investigate and divine this thing in the context of myself as the sacred adventurer that I am, we bring in the context of why you pay attention to your dreams. And we cultivate that. You know, we cultivate the community of that. We cultivate the culture of that. You know, where you're talking about it and you're like, right, I'm going to do it more because it's like this, and we're investigating it, and you're being the Jedi, and you're being the superhero. Those stories are about you. And so the divinations into your dreams are that you felt it. Like, and it's just the divination into the dreams. I was talking about what your name is with the unicorn horn, with the thing. I felt, I felt you
Cami.
feeling that, like just then. Camilla, I was like, you're feeling it, right? And I'm feeling you're all feeling that, but that's the thing, right? Because right now you feel how everything's opening, right? That's the sharing of the dream space in the substance. Because you are the hero in your dreams, man. You are the hero for sure, right? You are the hero in your thing, yeah. And that's when we understand that, when we understand that and we live in that, it's awesome, because it provides the gravity and the context for the journey itself. You know, that's the essence of like what it means for us, because we document the journey, we embody it, we present the story through Into the Mythica, and it's like the doing of the thing brings you to the heaven on earth reality where you get to live in your dream. So as you listen to the dream, you work with the dream, you divine the dream, you adjust to the dream, you're listening to yourself, you're on the journey, like Wolf Shield's on the journey. I love it so much. I love adventure so much. I honor all of you so big. I love chargers, just to say, man, because I live the dream of being like a magical knight errant superhero. So I love anybody that's charging it in a big way. I'm proud of you. Because what I'm saying, you're feeling me, right? That's the dream, man. That's your dream. You follow that.
It's beautiful.
That's my answer.
That's
That's my
beautiful.
answer.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Joshua. We'll kind of just open it up here to just invite others to just kind of like share from their heart. Again, if you guys just want to let us know when you're about to hop out and just add in a couple closing words before you do so, just go ahead and let us know.
I'm about to hop out right now because
before you get sucked into the vortex, go get that food, man. That food's
totally.
gonna. You gotta charge to go get that food. That's your mission right now.
I feel like we like bopped into the portal and now we're like hopping out.
Well, that's what I mean, right? You get sucked into the portal, so okay. Well, if you guys come back later, we may still be here, so feel free to check in. It's up to whatever works. So
I want to know. I want to say that I really am into listening to the divination of your dreams, especially with the prep thing, to see what was going on. And I want to feel you because you've been listening to the thing, and I'm feeling your radiance. But I'm so hungry.
yeah.
So
you guys know what you can do. Literally, just like
the heart is there. The heart is there. I swear.
Tune in on YouTube while you guys are going and getting food. Like Joshua,
We may do that.
Yeah,
we may do that.
I'll just send you the YouTube link, Joshua. You guys can still be there, and then just yeah. That's fine.
Oh, we love it. Oh, and Brendon, when you have a chance, we have something awesome we want to share with you.
Okay, cool.
Drop in with. Oh my
Sounds
God,
good.
I love all of you. You're so awesome. Follow your dreams, your chargers. Bye.
Joshua, Peter, thank you again. We'll catch up
Love
soon
you
and enjoy that food. Cool.
Thanks.
Awesome. All right. So just for context there, I'll make sure you guys know where to be able to connect with Joshua and Peter. So Instagram.com, into the Mythica, and also Joshua is joshua.com/JoshuaBlake.art. And we'll post that into the YouTube comments as well. So again, I know it might not be something where they'll immediately be able to hear the reply, but if there is anything that you guys just want to go off of there, by all means. But again, I love this idea that, like, you know, within the dream space, like, it's this opportunity to kind of connect with, like, almost like, and I mean, I'm kind of brainstorming this as I think it's like within the dream, is that like closer to our true self, you know, like here we are kind of in this version of reality, and we've kind of like stepped into this amnesia. We're kind of like playing this role, but you know, we talk about this idea of being multidimensional beings, having this human experience and things like that. And it's like when you're back in the dream space, sometimes the layers are kind of peeled away, and this is where we kind of get like the magic and the lore and the hero archetype and everything, and we can kind of really connect back into that. So yeah, let's just kind of open things up here. I'm not set on one way or another in terms of what you guys feel you want to reply with. So whoever wants to just kind of jump in next. And again, this is just practice. We're just talking about dreams, and if you guys do want to just talk a little bit about your own dream practices, your own dream experiences, and also any dream stories, please, absolutely, we can share those as we go. So whoever feels called to jump in next. Lizzy, you want to jump in next? Okay, we'll pass over to Lizzy, and then anybody else just want to raise their hand early just to give us a heads up on who wants to go. Mason, and then Sonya. Okay, cool. All right, so thank you, Lizzy, for joining in. Let's give a nice warm welcome to Lizzy. Lizzy, please feel free to briefly introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about dreaming and why it's important to you, etc. So
it means so much to me to be here with you all. I'm Lizzy Kester. I'm an emotional clarity and transformational coach. So you guys, I'm just like blown away by this community and how I feel like I really speak your language. It's really been a blessing. But yeah, Peter and Joshua really started this off like incredible. You could tell that they're so committed to this work and to their own individual expansion. Honing in on the topic here of dreams, I feel like, I'll definitely second everything that they said. Tuning into our dreams, of course, I feel like, again, it's all part of the unified all about learning. I'm a student of life, and I feel like we can learn from our dreams as well. So definitely something I wanted to add in my personal experience. something I've picked up is like a recurring symbol. So a lot of my, of course, dreams are symbolic, like, and I noticed that before I had a big like changing moment in my life, I would in my dream would be like a large moving body of water. And it happened a lot actually before I found this community, like months before. And I always just took it as like a good sign, even though if in real life I was like within a large body like of moving water, that would be like really scary and I would want to get out. But in my dream, it was recurring and I noticed the pattern. So I was like, okay. I took that into account. And I guess I'm coming from more of like a learning perspective here as well. But I wanted to share that. And I definitely resonate with what they said about prophetic dreams as well. I found that occasionally I'll have like, I'm not super good at remembering my dreams, but I can remember, I'm pretty good at remembering how they made me feel. And so the prophecy part would be like in my waking life, I would have a feeling of something. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I felt this feeling in my dream last night. So that's pretty much my take.
Um, thank you, Lizzy, for sharing. Absolutely, and again, I know there's a lot of topics there that we could literally just like kind of like branch out into, and the idea of prophetic dreams. But I think just one thing I've definitely talked about that, where for those of people who are just kind of like, oh, I have trouble remembering your dreams, leaning into the idea of focusing on how your dreams feel is a great kind of like stepping stone for that. Like when you wake up in the morning, you might be like, oh, I can't remember the details, but like, how do you feel? How did you feel? And you might find that that can almost become like a door that kind of opens you up to the remembrance as well. So it's crazy to think about it. When you think about it, it's like, wait a second, like dreams are making me feel things, like as if the
Yeah.
reality inside dreams is so real that it's actually causing like a response within my energetic body where I'm feeling things. It's like, what are dreams, man? What are freaking like, it's the holodeck, man. It's all inside of us, but it's technology or something. Anyways, Mason, I'm sure that gives you something to go off of. So Mason, we'll pass over to you. Lizzy, thank you again. And Mason, please feel free to introduce yourself. And Mason, super excited to be able to have you here, dude. And go ahead and just off the top of your head, off the top of your heart, tell us a little bit about why dreams are important to you and anything else. So welcome.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Mason, also known as Cosmic Landings online. I have recently been doing a bunch of digging into dreams. I became so fascinated with dreams when I was younger. I think it mainly started, I used to get really into watching and listening to like guided hypnosis and meditation on YouTube. And then I eventually found like guided lucid dream hypnosis videos on YouTube. And as a kid, I was super fascinated and I read into it a little further and I found how you can keep a dream journal. And then that's where everything kind of expanded from there. As I became more, well, as I practiced to remember my dreams more, it actually became like this. I like to say it's like a new muscle that I developed. And I went further into my dreams than I knew was even possible because at the start I felt that dreams are you can have really scary dreams or really awesome dreams or just really weird dreams, and that was all it really was to me. And then as I began to dig deeper, I started seeing symbols and their recurring themes, and I was actually waking up at some mornings and I was writing pages of what I remembered from my dreams, almost like this story that was within me was just beginning to pour out. And I definitely strayed away from it for a while, but as I'm growing now into new endeavors with meditation, I am finding like renewed fascination in my dreams. And I've definitely been working pretty hard to write down dreams every morning and just working, if anyone would like a tip off the top of my head, having a evening routine and a morning routine to me is crucial to remembering your dreams. One huge aspect of this for me was cutting out like the last 30 minutes before you go to sleep, like cutting out time that you're spending on the screen. Even time in front of bright lights can be really important. It just finding like, like if let's say you love tea, like make a little nighttime non-caffeinated tea routine or do some light stretching. And then same thing with the morning. When you wake up right away, don't like roll around immediately. Don't reach for your phone. Just lay there with your eyes still closed and try to like retrace the dream as if you're like just finished watching a really awesome movie and you're like recollecting it with someone you watched. So that's what I immediately have to say off of dreams. As the podcast goes a little further, if there is more open time, I would love to share a dream story that I had recently. Otherwise, I will pass it on to anyone else. Thank you.
Mason, if you want to share the dream story now, you're more than welcome to, dude. It's totally cool. It's up to you.
Yeah, I'll go for it.
Go for it, man.
Okay,
Yeah, and,
so
and if you got more later, you can share more later. So
yeah, it's actually pretty interesting when I try to like recall older dreams that have happened. Sometimes more details can actually come up that I didn't originally remember. But also sometimes they fall away. But how I remember this dream starting, obviously, this might seem kind of fragmented because it is a dream and it's hard to put to words. But basically, I was in my childhood home and I had awoken, like, I was in my bed in the dream, and there was this really loud sound coming from downstairs in my house. And I naturally went to go find this loud sound, and it appeared that my older brother at the time was throwing a party in the like main floor of our house while I was trying to sleep. And I got so frustrated and I said like the party's over, like I called the party off and everyone had to leave. And this is where like things picked up in intensity of the dream because I recall watching all these cars that were just like somehow smushed into our small little driveway just start driving down the road, and I was following the cars from this bird's eye view, watching them drive to this new location. And once I got to this new location, I realized that like, oh, the party's just moving somewhere else, like I don't need to follow them anymore. And when I had that realization, I was in this new like space, like I was in a different plane, and it felt kind of like, if anyone's familiar with Minecraft, it felt like I was literally placed within a video game. And as I was walking or moving my perception forward in the dream, I was creating what I was seeing. Like it was almost as if, when you're driving down the road and you see like the little shimmering light when there's water on or it looks like water, but they say it's just like not water. It was like that where everything was loading as I came closer to it. And as I went along this track that I was creating, it felt like a roller coaster. And I'd go up and I'd go down. And I was feeling in my dream body the sensation of lifting up and lifting down. And then the last like detail of the dream that I remember is my mom actually being there. And she's like, "Oh, you're just on another one of those journeys, aren't you?" And it was just so funny to me as I woke up like almost laughing. Like my mom's like ironically speaking to me like, "Oh, you're just going out deep again, aren't you?" So yeah, that was a dream story I had recently.
super interesting. And it's interesting when you do kind of get those dreams where it's just kind of like something you're kind of working through things and it's just kind of like this like mundane thing, and then suddenly it's just kind of like, whoa, like this is like a whole nother world, right? So it's just kind of like, and it is, I think being able to use the metaphor of a lot of video game terminology within dreams actually applies quite well. Like if you've ever like been in a dream and you like drop down the console and type in like the God mode commands and like the no clip and you start flying around and loading up new levels, like that's almost lucid dreaming when you think of it. It's like literally like dropping down the console and entering in some additional codes and like spawning items, and Kai knows what I'm talking about. You guys know what I'm talking about and stuff like that. So which is to no mistake, right? Like you look at the technologies and stuff, and they're obviously, any technology that we create is like a fractal of some sort of like spiritual truth in some way. So like video games are like this like dimension within a dimension within a dimension, and so dreams are like another it's just in different ends of the spectrum, right? So it's like we can kind of create this like virtual reality where we create these other dimensions where we can become god-like, or we can kind of like go back to the inner dimensions in the dream space and almost experience more or less the same thing. So but anyways, getting off a whole nother thing there. Mason, thank you again. And for everybody here, be sure to connect with Mason at Instagram.com/Cosmic Landings. Mason's got a lot of other cool stuff happening relative to dreams. So if you guys want to be able to connect further with Mason, I would highly encourage it. And Mason's has got I was working on his Patreon and his Discord with him today, so there's a lot of cool stuff there, and guided meditations and meditations that will probably like theme dream stuff into it and stuff like that. So definitely be sure to connect with Mason and show your support there. So Mason, thank you again, and looking forward to chatting more as we go. So okay, let me just check in. We'll pass it over to Sonya. Sonya, was Sonya, did Sonya have their hand up originally? Because Kailey, I know you have your hand up. Okay, Sonya, if you're still there, feel free to jump back in and we can pass it over to Kailey after Sonya, if Sonya's still there. So okay, cool. Sonya, thumbs up. You're still good with that? Kaylee, you're fine with that? You guys are so patient. I love you guys. Okay. Sonya. Okay, cool. Sonya, we'll pass it over to you. Anything that you would like to share about dreams. And again, please feel free to briefly introduce yourself as well. And welcome, Sonya.
Thanks, Brendon. Hi, everybody. Hi, everyone on YouTube, too. All right. So, yeah, some really interesting topics that we talked about. I was really interested in what really came to mind was that, like, recently what I've noticed, because the thing is, I am really big on journaling, like dream journaling as well. I've started doing that maybe a couple of months ago. I started that as a practice, and you do become more and more familiar with it. I feel like your subconscious mind or your I don't know, whatever it is. I still don't completely understand. I'll be honest about that. But like there's a part of you that understands the practice, and more of it comes through. And I kind of see it or understand it as a form of channeling almost, you know? Like someone on Instagram that I followed, another artist, she mentioned, because she does a lot of things relating to like ET beings and that kind of stuff. But like when she channels, she always uses the same book and the same pen. That way your mind kind of associates the book and the pen with the purpose and what's coming through. So like you create that connection. And I've seen like similar themes come through, and I'm really interested in, I think Joshua or Peter, but someone mentioned something about the Akasha or the Akashic records, and I'm getting similar like recurring dreams that have been coming through more and more. And I think the more I practice understanding my dreams, and I'm picturing like this world. I don't know if anyone like has like had experiences with having dreams of a similar place like repeatedly, because I feel like, I don't know if it's a past life or if maybe time is non-linear, or if like it's an alternate reality somewhere. I don't know if it existed before or it exists somewhere in another dimension, or maybe it exists as a memory of an ancient time. I don't know. I feel like it might be Lemurian, because I feel like I always see these kind of mountains. And that's right, I used to live in Australia. I lived there like half my life, hence the accent. But I was actually born in Canada. Born in Montreal, and this is where I live now. But sometimes like when I lived there, I remember just from like the forest and like things that I've seen, and just like the tropical, subtropical, like I don't know if it's part of me like can visualize based on memory as well what it must have looked like, because I feel like Australia was like that's what's left of what was once Lemuria. But at the same time, it looks like very different to anything I've ever seen. Like, I feel like I live, like, there are times where I've pictured kind of like my home. You know, I feel like I've pictured like where I live there and like places I hang out, and like there's like mountains, but it's near a river. It's almost like cliff-like, and I feel like I've seen similar places all the time. I don't know if this resonates with anyone, but like I'm really curious to know where this place is, like if it exists in like for real, like in this physical world, or it's in another dimension. I don't know. I'm really fascinated by things like that. But I feel like the more that I ask my spirit guides, or the more I ask the universe, like someone, like, can you please reveal to me what it is? You know, the more I insist on knowing, maybe it's like less, then I'm trying to control my journey, right? I'm becoming too conscious and I'm too attached to it. So it doesn't come through as naturally and fluidly or vividly. And like this, is this place recurring? Yeah. I feel like it every so often, like the less I try to dream about it, that's when I dream about it. And I've also noticed that, like, even with my subconscious mind, I feel like when I'm going through a lot, like periods of massive change. And I also heard this somewhere recently that the more you're conscious and like self aware of, especially when you're shifting your own identity, I feel like right now I'm rewiring a lot of my old beliefs. I'm trying to manifest things, but again, it's like push pull, right? Because I'm trying to not attach. But when I'm changing my behaviors and the way that I identify with certain things in my life, I feel like even in my dream, I can see two different paths and like choices I can make. And even in my dream state, I'm choosing, no, this is the old me, this is the new me now. And it's almost like quite fascinating how even in my dream state, I see almost like a reflection of what I'm like and or what I want in my physical reality. Just little hints of it. So, and I, yeah. And I think it really touches on the, I don't know how he mentioned it before, but the how like the divine experience or something like that, like tuning into my true essence. And yeah, I'm still, you know, trying to figure it out, but maybe I shouldn't try to figure it out, you know. And even when I like I'm working on a new painting, and it's like as I'm painting, I want to add to it stuff from my dreams. So I feel like my non-conscious self wants me to go there and explore that um, in my practice. But yeah, these are things I've observed lately. So I'm just curious to see what other people have to say. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Sonya. And I love that idea. Again, I know we kind of talked about it before the recording, where it's like sometimes it's like if I try really hard to dream, it doesn't work. But when I don't try, then it works. So it's kind of like this whole like law of attraction thing where, again, I think intention is important, kind of saying like my intention is to develop my relationship with my dream practice, and then having that target, but then kind of like letting go of kind of like how and when that shows up to you. I mean, I'm sure you guys have probably heard all about that in law of attraction concepts, law of resonance and stuff. So yeah, I think it is kind of like this thing where we put out that signal to the universe, and creating the routines and the habits helps incubate that. But at the same time, just kind of, you know, going to sleep and just be like, if it happens, it happens, opposed to waking up in the morning being like, oh, it didn't happen, and be like shaking your fist at the universe and stuff like that. And the universe is like, this is exactly why you're not ready. Like this right here, this attitude right here, this is why you're not, you know, it's just kind of like humble yourself. And then eventually, you know, again, I think you can kind of develop that relationship. And one of the intentions with dreams is kind of this idea of just being like, show me what I need to see. And sometimes that may be nothing, and sometimes it may be Lumeria, you know. So Sonya, did you want to say something? Go right ahead, jump back in.
Oh no, that's it. I think like really thanks for saying that, Brendon, because it's true. It's almost like I know this to be true, and it's like a constant like, let go, Sonya, let go. And it's like, cool, I got this time, and now let it go. Like more will be revealed, but it's not up to me to decide and know when, right? So it's like part of my journey, and I have to honor that and what's out there. And
no, dream practice is definitely a very, very humbling experience, it would seem. And again, you know, I think I'm sure we've all kind of realized this, like there seem to be certain points within our life where it's almost as like for whatever reason, it's like our dreaming almost gets turned off. Like especially if we are kind of going through something with like big changes and stuff, it's almost as if like the soul is kind of conducting this choice and just be like, you're gonna go sleep, like just rest. Like this is what you need right now. Like there's something kind of curating from a higher dimensional plane that knows what's better for us, opposed to us kind of like projecting from this ego place of wanting dreams, right? But even still, it's like, why do you want to develop your relationship with dreams? Because I think some people, especially over the past while, and I'll pass over to Kailey in 2 seconds, they've probably like seen a bunch of videos about astral projection and lucid dreaming, and they almost approach it from like a spiritual ego or an unconscious ego, where they're just like, this sounds really cool, this sounds really like something where I can have an exciting experience. And I think that's a great way to kind of be brought into it, but that relationship isn't something that you can really build a foundation on as well. So I think, the universe might be like, here's a sample, but you don't get the full ticket, like you don't get the full show unless you do the work. And I think that's kind of thing, is that dreaming, the results that we get is going to be oftentimes like a result of the work that we put into it. It's a relationship, so if you don't put the work into the relationship, it's probably not going to build quite in the way that you would want it to. But then the odd time you'll just like not be trying to do anything, and you'll wake up and you'll be like, what was that dream about? Like it was like some crazy dream. And sometimes those dreams come at a very powerful moment, and might serve a purpose that we don't fully know until a little bit later on, but who knows. So fascinating. So okay, Sonya, thank you again. And Kailey, thumbs up. We'll pass it over to you next, and then Camilla, Kai after Kailey, and then Camilla if you want to jump right in. Cool. Okay, Kailey, thank you so much for joining in, and we'll pass it over to you. Feel free to introduce yourself and tell us about dreams and all the crazy, wacky stuff that we like to talk about here. So, welcome, Kailey. Oh, hold on. Audio's nope, it's not coming through. It's just like, is the audio coming through? No, it's not. So.
How about now?
Yes, now it is. Okay, good. Welcome, Kailey.
There's like two of the same microphone.
Oh, yeah.
For some reason. I don't know. But yeah, I'm Kailey. I'm Kaleidospective on Instagram, and I am a pretty avid dreamer. I have been since I was young, and I love the approach that you both had just mentioned, because I do feel like having that healthy relationship with dreams, because they really are a tool. And if you continue to build that muscle, it's only going to get better for you. I mean, you dream every single night. So for me, like last week after the podcast, I asked a couple of the Paradigm Shift guys, like, what are you guys doing to help like further your dream space? Because I feel like I have, all these great messages and everything, and I want to start getting into some of the more like, trying astral projection, because I feel like I probably would be pretty good at it. But I think just coming from that healthy perspective of like, you can also just work on what you already have. So for instance, like the dream journaling, that's helping build that muscle every single day. And even though like for me, I don't necessarily even set the intention before bed, which I know that's something that I could do to help my dream space. But even if I'm not, I'm still able to, have that thought that like, okay, in the morning, I'm going to wake up and journal my dreams. So it's going to help me build that up and remember them over time. But it's little things, little steps at a time. Like I've been trying to count my fingers in the dream space so I can become lucid. So once I get like kind of the gist of like, hey, wait a second, like it'll often be like if I see like a loved one who's passed, I'm like, wait a second, they're not alive. I must be dreaming. Let me like take this by the horns, and I try to start counting my fingers. And the issue I'm running into now is I keep counting 6 fingers on my first hand, and I can't get past it, and I fall back into my dream space. But it's progress nonetheless. So take small steps and keep chipping away at it. It's like if you're just starting to lift weights, like you don't necessarily even need weights, just doing the motions with your arms, starts building it up. So just take small steps. But for me, yes, dream journaling is like super baked into my morning routine. I did have it. I reached a point where my dreams were just becoming so detailed that like every morning I woke up, I was like, oh my gosh, it felt like a chore. And what I've started doing of lately is I've just been trying to cut that back and write down just like key moments, not having to make it super organized, if you can just jot down a couple of words and stuff to help you remember it, then you can reference that even just throughout your day and go back to, oh, actually, that makes sense to something now. So that's something I've been doing to make it a little bit easier on myself and a little bit less like rigid and chore-like. But my favorite tool that I use for getting the important messages out of my dreams is, and I believe I might have shared this in the past, but the first thing that I write down in the morning is usually my most potent message. And I kind of have that intention in mind. It's like whenever you're like half asleep, half awake, you're still kind of in the dream state. Even if it's like you have a song lyric stuck in your head, that's the first thing I write down in my journal. Sometimes it's a phrase. Like actually a few months ago, and I like what they were saying about it being a way to access the Akashic records. So much I can say on this because of lately I've been kind of noticing that prophetic aspect in my dream space where I'm starting to like jot things down, and then like a day or so or a week later I'm like, hey, wait a second. I think I'm like flipping through my journal, like I think I said I dreamt something on that last week. But anywho, yes, so I had left my job at the end of January, and I'm working on figuring out what my soul's calling is. And I was like, man, I really don't know where to start. And I think that was kind of starting to be reflected in my dream space. And I woke up one morning and I wrote down modalities, which it's like one of those words I've like always heard, but I just never really knew what it was. It's like the definition never really stuck. And then I looked it up, and there's the spiritual modalities. That's where you can go all sorts of directions with your healing, and like you can do Reiki, you can do dream interpretation. Hey, and so that was like kind of cool. That was the first word that came up, so it gave me something to look up, and I was like, wow, okay, that actually helps. Another instance recently, like I woke up and it was pretty trippy. The first thing I woke up to was that I saw like it was almost like a computer screen, an old school computer screen, and it said my name, Kailey, and then it said switch user next to it. That was the first thing I wrote down. I was like, what? Am I switching timelines? I mean, I think I might be in my dream space. I don't know. There's so many things that you can use dreams for. But again, just bringing that back to the basics, just write down, even if they're super silly and it's like, I randomly dreamt that this like worm crawled across in front of me, like write that down. That probably means something. You can look it up, or I like Cami said this, and I'm sure you'll probably say this a little bit, but I know Cami said in the comments that trusting your intuition and not always depending on like Google sources to figure out what the dreams are. Like, how did you feel in that moment? And what did that symbol feel like to you? I think because there's so many different definitions of these things out there. Like I had a dream with a bunch of snakes the other night, but I looked it up and like I didn't really resonate with any of the interpretations of seeing snakes, but I knew what it made me feel. So I could go on and on. I'm sure I'll chat a little bit more, and I'll share some dream stories here in a little bit, but I'll let some of you guys talk. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Kailey, so much. It was beautiful just listening. I love how excited we all get about dreams and stuff like that. Like everyone's just like, it is. It's exciting because we don't get a chance to talk about it a lot. So yeah, no, and they're so important to us, like, so it's really cool. Awesome, Kailey. Thank you again for sharing. Beautiful. Okay, Kai, we can pass over to you. Cami, did you want to go after Kai? And Lauren, welcome, Lauren. Cool. Okay, cool with that. Okay, cool. Kai, go ahead and we'll pass over to you, and please feel free to introduce yourself and talk all about the dreams you want to talk about, etc., etc. Welcome, Kai.
Yeah, you're right. Like I've been smiling so much just listening to people's dreams, and like Kailey's like switch user, like it's just like like you can have like crazy like symbolisms from dreams that really like just make you like make you kind of wonder. My name's Kai. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at coachq.md. I'm a transformational coach and a yoga meditation teacher. I was a very vivid and lucid dreamer when I was young, like really young. Like I remember I might have been like 9 or 8. And I remember like still 2 of those lucid dreams at that age. And then I went through like, I don't know, maybe when I was like in my early teens, all the way up until like 20, until I was 23, I didn't like really dream at all. And it wasn't until I think it was like the Christmas of 2017, I just kind of was like, I don't know, I was just went down like a YouTube rabbit hole, and then I started like learning about lucid dreaming. And I was hearing all these cool stories of like Paul McCartney, like he dreamt up like the melody yesterday and all these crazy things. And then like what got me really interested was I was hearing this physician, like a doctor, like an MD on a podcast, and he said he like coaches and he teaches people to lucid dream, because he said he's at the point of lucid dreaming where he sees it as he gets another like 5 hours of his day, because he's so good at lucid dreaming. He said he practices the piano, like he freaking practices the piano. And there's other like physicists out there that will like almost like conduct experiments in their dreams. So you get a third of your life if you can, lucid dream. um but like lucid dream is only like, one area that I get nerdy about. So yeah, it was 3 years ago I got really interested and I wanted to dream again. And it was like winter time, it was approaching Christmas, and I remember like I just had this strong intention. I spent the evening, I watched Inception. So I got really excited about dreaming, extra excited. I love the movie. And then, like Mason was saying earlier, I just listened as I was falling asleep, like a lucid dreaming guided recording, and I started dreaming again, and I haven't stopped. And that was about 3 years ago. So yeah, I started picking up different like dreaming, journaling, and different practices. And one like book that really helped shaped my understanding and it gave me like a framework and like a step-by-step practice is called it's called Inner Work: Using Dreams and Active Imagination for Personal Growth. And it's by Robert Johnson, and he is like a Jungian therapist, Jungian psychologist. So his background, it's all with Carl Jung's work, and he dives into like consciousness and unconsciousness. And I'm definitely generalizing here, but he sees dreams as like a direct portal to our unconscious, whereas in our normal waking day, we are mostly in our consciousness. And I'm just gonna read like little small paragraphs. He gives this beautiful image that he describes in our waking life. You could think of it when we're awake. It's like we're pretty much under conscious, our egoic framework, and he describes it as like when we're awake, our ego is like an island. And like an island people living on the island world, all we know is the island, and our perspective is shaped about the island. And then he describes that our ego, like being like island people, we're not aware of the outside limits of the little island, and we have a very narrow perspective of reality and the truth that's contained just on the island. And then he describes, like in dreams, which is like the unconsciousness, he describes that as the ocean. So he says that it's the unseen ocean of energy, these huge forces, they're at work. And even though we're not conscious of them during our waking day, this is like a bitter pill to swallow, but we are less conscious than we think. Like literally, even though we're not aware of our unconsciousness, it is really like the oceanic world in our minds that is kind of in control. And we only can like perceive like, little bits of it. And quite often, like, then we can talk about willpower. I would say we have less willpower than we actually like to think we have. Um, so he goes and describes that like in the ocean, like the unconsciousness, like that's like where mythical kingdoms are, and the depth carry on in our lives parallel to the daily life of our conscious mind. And he talks about here the purpose of learning to work with the unconsciousness is not just to resolve our conflicts or deal with our neuroses. We find there a deep source of renewal, growth, strength, and wisdom. We connect with the source of our evolving character. We cooperate with the process whereby we bring the total self together. because he describes a lot of our issues is like disagreements with our unconsciousness and our consciousness, and almost like different players and different personalities and different selves that lives in the unconsciousness. They could be kind of conflicting with each other. So he describes like dreams are a beautiful place to observe the conflicts and also to learn the different players in our unconsciousness. And it could be a source of us figuring out what is the storyline that plays out in our waking day. So in anything, like dreams are more truthful and they are as valid of a reality as our like waking reality. And he kind of goes more to describe that he really wants us to give as much validation, as much value in our dreaming reality compared to our waking reality. They're equally as important. So here he says, the world of dreaming, if only we realized it, has more practical and concrete effects on our lives than our outer events do. For it is in the world of dreaming that the unconsciousness is working out its powerful dynamics. It is there that the great forces do battle or combine to produce the attitudes, ideals, and beliefs and compulsions that motivate most of our behavior. So once we've become sensitive to our dreams, we discover that every dynamic in a dream is manifesting itself in some way in our practical lives. So whatever dynamics, whatever like the ways that different dream symbols are playing out in our dreams, like, you know, you might have like villains and heroes fighting. You might have like your best friend that shows up constantly, but he's, you know, it's just a symbol of your best friend. Like, don't take it literally. It's not really like, you know, you should call your best friend. Maybe sometimes, but it's like whoever that friend symbolizes. Like, was he a friend? Did he betray you? Who does he represent in your own psyche, in your own inner world? So we can use and understand these conflicts, these dynamics within our dreams across the symbols, for it to show us how our actions, our feelings, our relationships, our decisions, and our automatic routines, and our urges, and our feelings in our waking life. How does the dream dynamics, how do that tell us what's going on underneath that affects our day-to-day life? And in my own work, using like his way of breaking down dreams is I keep a dream journal, and I keep it like in my bed. Like I have the pen, like I'll have my pen like uncapped and ready, and I'll have it like right on the page. And even the night before, like what Mason was saying, it's so important to have a nighttime routine and your morning routine. So I literally the night before, I'll actually like clear out a page, and I'll write the date for tomorrow, and I'll write dreams, and I'll like underline it so it's like ready. Like I'm ready to write the dreams the first thing when I wake up. And literally the first thing when you wake up, like just roll over and like just like, you know, quickly like try to like just repeat as many details that you still remember, because it like fades like that. So then just grab your book and just start writing as much as you can. And I personally like to write in first person as if it's like happening as I'm writing it. And what's important is your interpretation of the symbols. So for instance, like one of the first steps as you're writing out the dream, you can like maybe circle important symbols that pop up, like people, places, colors, actions. And one way is then for you to, with each thing that you write out, to just free flow. Like here's an example. So in this person's dream, it was blue. So they just wrote as much things that they associate themselves with blue. So literally just don't think too hard about it. Like here they wrote like cool, detached, sad, I've got the blues, blue, blown away, clarity, consciousness. So it's some ways it's more important what your personal interpretations are, because everyone's like symbol, of course there's like collective symbols that have similar meanings across people, but a lot of our own symbols, like our personal people, like that is our personal associations that we have to come up with ourselves to understand. And what's interesting that I didn't really know before diving into Jungian dream work, it's to look at how the different symbols, after you kind of figure out the associations the best that you can, how they interact with each other. Because he brings the importance of the dynamics. So the dynamics just means how like two different symbols, how they interact, how they interplay. So as you like kind of interpret your dreams, if you choose to go down this path, you can figure out. For instance, like I have reoccurring dreams where I am like on a basketball court and I suck, even though like I grew up playing basketball court. I grew up playing basketball and I loved it. I was pretty good. But I think for me, like the basketball court could represent, like for instance, maybe like the competitiveness of me being on stage as like a masculine player. And so funny because like in the dreams, like 8 out of 10 times, like I'm sucking. Like I'll throw away the ball. I'll try to like shoot at the hoop, but like I lose all my strength and I'm like barely like, you know, making it in the air. But it's so interesting because it's like as you almost like do the work in the waking reality, the dreams like kind of shift. Or like if you're able to like be a bit lucid and shift the dream, then like my waking life changes. So I realized in my last like a year or two, as I've been like, you know, leaning more into my masculine and doing the healing and growing as a person and be in a place of more of my heart than fear, it's like the dreams like play out differently. There's like sometimes while I'm on the court, I make a shot and I actually score. So it's so cool to see how like, you know, the waking reality, that's one reality. And to be honest, like we are dreaming with our eyes open. And then there's the dreaming reality, and they're both equally as valid and powerful. And they both can in some ways like merge and bleed into each other. So I love to dream, and I encourage everyone to give it a shot. Maybe it might take an evening of watching Inception and then listening to some guided lucid dreaming recordings, and then just have your journal ready and see what comes up.
Awesome, Kai. Thank you so much. And again, you know, I just love how much wisdom you have to be able to share on this, and I'm sure we could just talk about this for hours and hours on end. And yeah, no, it's just one of those topics. It just literally just the rabbit hole just doesn't end. And yeah, and again, just real quick, and passing it over to Cami, and then Lauren, if you're ready, we can pass it over to you. Understanding that like dreams have like the primordial language of symbols, like that's literally like the base language of the universe, maybe, relatively speaking. Like I don't know, I guess you could probably like take it even lower than that if you're just talking about like, I don't know, like ones and zeros or vibrations or something like that. But anyways, like beyond spoken word, the universe communicates to itself through the language of symbols. So that's where like through dream practice there is a language there, and you can actually learn it and to understand that it's very personal. So every person is kind of like learning the language of their dreams. Like that's where, you know, when you get those books where it's like, oh, this is, you know, dream interpretation, dream symbols and stuff like that. Those are great. Those can be a great starting point. But at the end of the day, the best person to interpret your dreams is you. It will be your unique sort of encyclopedia of symbols and how it all kind of links together there as well. So yeah, and again, I love that idea that just to have that concept that everything that we're seeing within our dreams is like a hologram. You know, it's a reflection of something inside of us as well. So when we kind of have that wisdom, it gives us the ability to be able to have like the skill set, the philosophical skill set, to be able to begin looking at things from that lens, opposed to it being quite as literal. We start to get more analytical and philosophical and kind of like look through the layers. Oh, why did I see that? Where was that coming up from? You know, it's kind of like dreams kind of serve the purpose of almost like a therapist before therapists were around, you know? So it's just like we all can use that. And so instead of needing the external person, you know, here we have this opportunity to be able to work with like this internal oracle, or this internal source of being able to like serve as a mirror for us to be able to see ourselves. So can we kind of show up with our dreams, with that understanding, to actually be able to go into our dreams and be like, ooh, like I wonder what I'm gonna see within myself today. And what happens when we kind of show up to that with an open heart and a willingness to be able to look into those parts of ourselves, to be able to see ourselves. Like that's the thing, like dreams, like absolutely, dreams are a great place to do, you know, what people like to refer to as shadow work and everything. But again, even still, you may go through a process of a dream where it may be something that may be shadow work-esque, but you still have to make the conscious choice to be able to do something with that when you wake up. The dream will be like, here, this is for you. But then we still have that free will to be able to say like, oh, I choose to do this with it. In the same way that we can just be like, meh, and just kind of turn away from it or whatever. But usually when we do that, it will show up in some other way. And if anything, maybe if we're working on things through our dream practices and our meditations and our reflection and our journaling, maybe working on it through our dreams actually prevents it from having to come up within our physical reality. So it's kind of like this thing where it's like, oh, you want to like deal with less crazy shenanigans within your physical reality. Maybe those can be dealt with within the dream space first, because again, it's always kind of like your external world is a reflection of the internal world. So when we're working with the internal world within the internal spaces, maybe that kind of like prevents it kind of changes the story where the universe is like, oh, you're not going to pay attention to your dreams, here, let it bring it literally into your physical reality so that you can learn from it as well. I mean, I don't know, does that make sense? Kind of like, or is that I guess a thing, maybe, yeah, in some way. So okay, all right, let's keep passing the talking stick around. We're gonna pass it over to oh, Lizzy, are you heading out? Okay, Lizzy, I think just headed out. Bye, Lizzy. Cami, we're gonna pass over to you. Lauren, did you want to go after Cami? Yeah, okay, cool. And Lacey just joined as well. So Lacey, you can let us know if you'd like to be able to go after Lauren as well. Thank you again, everyone, for holding space, and let's keep going. And we're not gonna do like a super long broadcast tonight. Probably just like 6 hours, maybe 10 hours. I don't know. We'll see. Well, right, Kailey, just like, we'll see. Maybe we'll just fall asleep on air together. You guys cool with that? Dream practice? That actually would be kind of cool to just like do a workshop where it's like, all right, everyone go to sleep, and then we wake up and then we talk about what we dreamt about and stuff. Maybe. All right, we'll have to do a special broadcast for that. Okay, Cami, I'm going to pass it over to you. Welcome again to everybody who may just be joining in. And Cami, when you're ready, please feel free to briefly introduce yourself and anything that you'd like to be able to share about dreams, why it's important to you, etc., etc. Welcome, Cami.
Hello, I'm Cami. You can find me on Instagram as Luminous by Camila Bruce. And I don't have nearly as much wisdom as everybody else who has talked, but I do have a few dreams that talking about like how dreams can be very like premonitions. I've had a few of those, and I do believe that dreams are a way of showing us things that we're either repressing or needing to look at, like looking at from the perspective of like a shadow work. Um, Definitely, I think that dreams are definitely just like way showers, um, like a guide or yeah, kind of like a guide. And so we should definitely look into them and pay attention to them if we can remember. And so I have been really bad at journaling. I have to be honest. I've been trying. Um, but I do wake up a lot at night and I'll remember things. But if I start to write down, like I wouldn't sleep at all, because if I don't go back to sleep, I wake up so much during the night that I just wouldn't if I kept writing. But um anyways, so I really wanted to share like a few dreams with you that have been like really intense for me and like very premonitory of things that have happened. And so um and again, like I said, like I wrote, I feel like interpretation of dreams is very subjective. um you can definitely find stuff on Google, and there's different pages that have like symbolic meanings for dreamings and for dreaming and all that stuff. But it always comes down to what we've been talking about, like how you feel about the dream, you know, what it actually, yeah, what it means to you, and how it resonates to you. Everybody has a different, if you ask anyone, and there's experts and everything, but like they'll always have their own perspective of how to interpret your dreams. So there's nobody else besides you that's going to know better how to interpret them. And so I just wanted to share. So first, a dream that I had, like, I think it was a few, like, I've had it a few times and it kept coming back, and it was before all COVID happened. And it was basically a dream where, like, everything was collapsing. Like, I saw like a huge earthquake. I was in a building, and the building was empty, and it was like in the top roof, and like the building started to like shift, like it was just dropping and falling. And I was kind of hanging to this column and like trying to grab it like so badly and just hanging on to it. But I realized that I was gonna fall with the whole building anyways. So I let the column go and I kind of slid. And through the whole process, like when I let go, I was just so at peace after I let go. And this is I'm like telling it like very fast because like a lot of stuff happened. But the like what that meant to me is like the more I held on to anything, like the more I was gonna um like not be able to flow or be at peace. Like hanging on was just making me more stressed and more scared of this whole situation. So I basically let myself go. And next to the building there was this huge dam, and the dam had a very big like cement wall, and the wall was falling apart, like breaking. And when I fell into the dam like really 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 deep. Like I just fell down 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 down. But I was in this bubble, and I wasn't like drowning or scared or anything. And all of a sudden I just kind of got like a slinky or something, like some like I was being pulled down, but then I was just shot like into the air, and I was just flying above, and all these things were just falling apart under me. It was just like "Whee!" Like flying over it and just looking at all this destruction with such peace that it was just I had this like knowingness that everything was going to be okay, even though everything seemed that it was falling apart. And so there's a lot of you know there's a lot of symbols in there too. And flying has its own meaning, and water has its own meaning as well. And I do dream about water a lot, a lot, a lot. um, Whether it be like dirty or clear, and those things are super symbolic to me. um but like in this case it was just the water was sucking everything into it. And and everything then was just peaceful after it. And that was basically the end of the dream. uh I had another dream that was very recurring when I was a teenager. And I was telling Brendon, like the graphic for the dream class is super similar. So there's this four pillars in the middle of nowhere, like it just like it's like a field, and it was kind of like a chess floor. um, and there were people there, but I don't know who. Like I just know there was a lot of people there with me. And all of a sudden this light shuts up from heaven, and we all start just getting sucked into the light and beamed up. And that like I that dream is a dream that I've had quite a few times. And so I also feel that's very I feel like we're in that place right now. Like we're ascending, we're being beamed up. And it's just it feels like it's coming from that vision, all that's happening right now. And with that like earthquake, going on and all those things. Like it just feels like it was very premonitory of what has been happening um, during these past years. And I I've also had dreams like lately, the things that I've been remembering, because it's really sad. I used to dream very like vividly and very symbolic, and it was really amazing. And now I've been not dreaming like that. Like I barely remember, but the dreams that I have been remembering have to do a lot of like with shadow work. So seeing myself as being mean or ignoring others, or and I actually think I talked to Lauren about it. There was this dream where I saw myself kind of like a like very devilish, and it scared me. But eventually, like I sat with my guides, and they were like, this is basically, there's things that you need to work through, and that's why you're seeing yourself like that, and you just need to find out like what shadows you need to work through. And um so when you see it from that perspective, like you don't take it so literally, because sometimes we see things that scare the hell out of us in dreams, and they're just symbolic, like remembering to not taking it literally, and just like working it through and analyzing why am I seeing these things, and trusting your gut. Back to the intuition, just trusting your intuition, and just like deciphering what these dreams are telling you. And so I definitely know that I'm being sent a lot of messages through dreams, and I wish I could remember more. But I feel like that image of me like holding on to that pillar, and like when you try to attach to things, and like in my case trying to remember, and every night I've been like going to sleep and asking like, hey, please help me remember. And but for some reason, I'm not remembering as much. So I feel like I'm in that like surrender space right now, where it'll start happening, when it needs to, and eventually I'll start remembering. But I think that what you guys have said about journaling and all those tools that you have been giving us, that's super awesome, because I'm definitely going to start doing all of that, at least when I wake up in the morning. And but yeah, I feel like dreams definitely are important, and they definitely have messages there for us. And I think that's all I have for for dreaming.
Mm.
But yeah, it's really cool. Like the times that I'm able to remember them, it's just really amazing. And I'm super excited about Lacey's stories.
Oh, oh, Lacey, your hype precedes you. Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Cami, that was wonderful. Thank you for sharing that story. And honestly, you sharing that story, very reminiscent of a dream that I had last night, as
Oh
well,
wow.
where again it was kind of, and I'm sure probably other of us have had similar things, but it was kind of, maybe I'll talk about it later, but it was basically a similar thing where there was kind of like imminent destruction, but then from my point of view, just kind of like absolute surrender as
Yeah.
well, and just kind of like it was kind of one of those dreams. So yeah, and I'm sure that's something that probably like it'd be interesting. This is where it's like, oh man, we need to do like surveys across the collective, and if you could figure out what people are dreaming, it probably like be a very powerful representation of where like the collective hive mind is, so to speak. So
That's super interesting. And like
yeah.
what Sonia was saying from recurring dreams, and like going to places, I just remembered like, yeah, there's this place, and I was told by my guides I'm from Andromeda, and like there's this place that I visit a lot, where there's like this huge ocean, and it kind of blends in with the sky, and like the stars just kind of, it's like an endless sky with an ocean. There's no separation there, and it's a beach, and it's kind of like nighttime, but it's daytime at the same time. And I go there a lot, a lot, a lot, and it feels like home. Like it definitely it feels like home. And I've never seen it like in real life. And so I feel like definitely there's places that basically we just have been in other lives, and we just go back and visit, and probably eventually we'll end up there again.
Yeah, no, such a fascinating concept, and I know there's more to talk about there. Cami, are you okay? We'll pass over to Lauren next. Yeah, we had in the video festival we had Neil on about galactic disclosure, galactic origin, and stuff like that. And we started getting into this discussion where like he was talking about some pretty trippy dreams of dreaming being on other planets, and then like when the dream ended, it like ended with him kind of waking up on this planet. Really kind of like mind-blowing stuff where yeah, like through our dreams, is that a way for us to kind of like tap into our like soul heritage, you know, and dream of lifetimes on other planets and other dimensions and things. And here we are, just like these, you know, we're just happen to be here on Earth, but through the dream space we tap into this like hyper network of information that expands beyond space and time as well. Let's keep the talking stick going around. Again, we'll wrap things up, I would say no later than 11, maybe earlier than that, but I do want to be able to encourage people to share any tips and tricks. We usually do this every broadcast, so if we repeat some things from previous broadcasts, that's okay, because there's always new people listening in every time. So Lauren, give me a thumbs up, we'll pass it over to you, and then Lacey, we can pass it over to you if you'd like to go, and then at that point, again, anybody else, we'll just kind of do popcorn style and go from there. So Lauren, thank you so much for joining. Please feel free to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit, or share from your heart anything about dreams, etc., etc. Welcome.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Lauren. You can find me at Hypnolution on all the channels. And oh my goodness, there's so many great tips. I can't wait to read Inner Work by Robert Johnson. Okay. Yeah, I'm excited about that. Thank you. And so yeah, dream therapy is a big part of hypnotherapy, and just talking about the subconscious mind, it's really the biggest part. You think about the iceberg and the ego and the id and the super ego. And so let's see, I also have a free dream journal on my website if you wanted to go to hypnotiontherapy.com. It's free dream journal, and it's really a great way to separate the symbolic content from the literal content. When did the dream happen? The timing cues, those could be really important. How old were you? Were you a different person? Really looking into those aspects. And it's funny, as a child, I just did this thing. I would do it just so naturally. Right before bed, I would color in like a coloring book in my mind's eye, and I would use the colors. And then I would do mathematics and like play with adding up and subtracting things. And then I would send like love to all of my family and my friends. And that's something that I did every night before bed. And as a child, we're just so great at lucid dreaming. And a lot of us have had flying dreams and we're able to travel around and do so many different things. But it really helped me to tap into that more. And even when Kai was talking about the word mapping, that's a big part of design, and really just playing with different symbolic content. So yeah, when you wake up, even drawing some symbols could be a really great way. Or before you go to bed, drawing a little bit, playing with that. Always setting intentions too, but yeah, the symbolic content is so interesting, and really just tapping into like animals are one of the most fun parts of dreams, I feel like, because they can come in many different forms. And I also dream about water a lot. I'm always dreaming about water. And underwater, I've dreamed once about an underwater world like a year ago, maybe a little bit more than that, and there was mermaids and stuff, but I don't really know the star galaxies or anything. But I still have lucid dreams now, and I'll dream where I'm in this world and I'm just like flying above an ocean or flying above something fun. I play with like telekinesis a lot, where I'll move items in dreams. Just, I don't know why. I just like want to turn up a light switch, and I think it's fun to like play and do that. When I have nightmares, and it is a form of shadow work, nightmares could be definitely, and understanding why those are coming, if revolving, it could also be from a past life, and understanding that. So hypnosis is really tapping into the cell memory of our subconscious too. So when we're in hypnosis, we can set the intention for dream venting. So
a suggestion to say when you're meditating or in a deep alpha or theta brainwave state, to have that suggestion. That's a great way for people to start remembering their dreams more. It actually comes much more naturally. So it's a great way to remember them. But yeah, so nightmares. Some of the craziest nightmares I've had lately was a demon like in my face, like very scary. And it was right, I was thinking about reptilians the night before, so it was probably something to do with that. But there was a like demon right in my face, and I just was like, I'm gonna make out with you. And that's how it went away. Like I just needed to fight it with humor, and that's what worked, I guess. That's how I deal with a lot of my nightmares. Or if like there's a zombie attack, I'm like, I'm gonna fly away from here now. Whee! But yeah, I think it's funny because a very left-brained thing is sleep paralysis, and I don't know if a lot of us have experienced that before, but I kind of think of it almost as astral projecting, but like being really scared. So you're like afraid. Your body's in that like tightened up phase where it's just like, what the fuck? I can't feel my body. I can't move my body. Like, get me out of here. But if you were excited about like not being completely out of your body, then maybe you could practice that a little and, start to wiggle your fingers and toes if you want to get out of it. But yeah, and just nightmares in general are wild. But lately I've been dreaming. I always write down my dreams. Like I'll usually voice record them, or I'll just draw out the symbols. Depends on how I'm feeling that day. My journal is like a mess. I just like draw random things. Oh, if anyone, you need to check out Maddie's presentation on intuitive art if you haven't, from the video festival. And that was amazing to really connect your drawing with your intuition, your gut, your heart. And that even part of being like a designer, it's just so intuitive to like raise your clairvoyance and your lucid dreaming abilities. So yeah, that class is really awesome and really fun exercise to do, to just mental exercise for dreaming and remembering them. But yeah, all mindfulness tactics, those are all fun. And yeah, right before bed, just maybe color something and also do like a little mathematic equation. It's like equalizing your left and right brain a little bit. So you tap into that. And yeah, that's all I really got for now. I haven't, yeah. Thanks for having me.
That's awesome. Thank you, Lauren. Again, I'm just enjoying just sitting here listening. There's not too much that I always have to say after every single one. Beautiful. Okay, we'll keep things moving along here. Quick shout out to those of you in the YouTube for being here. The sound was a little bit janky a moment ago. I apologize for that. Let me know if it sounds fine in the YouTube chat. It should be fixed. If you ever notice the sound's janky, where it's like or something like that, just let me know in the YouTube chat. Sometimes I don't see it right away. I don't know why it happens, but it does. But anyways, it should be fine now. So let's just keep moving things along here. More chat, less jankiness. And yeah, thank you again. Sorry, that's like the only word I use now. Everything's janky this and janky that. So anyways, all right. Thank you again, everyone, for joining in. Lacey, we'll pass it over to you next. If you're ready, give me a thumbs up there. And then, yeah, from there, let's just kind of chit chat some more and keep talking until we all fall asleep on air together or something like that. So cool. All right, Lacey, thank you so much for being here, for coming back. And please feel free to briefly introduce yourself and share with us anything you want to talk about related to dreams, dream stories, etc., etc. Welcome, Lacey.
Hi, I'm Lacey, the paper druid. Just here with my little spirit friend Shay, who's visiting us. Yeah, I'm happy that I could jump in. I don't always get to, so I don't know what I could share. I've been dreaming for forever, as most of you already know. Probably for 16 years now, I've been keeping a dream journal. And it's a big part of my just like who I am as a person. It's part of my identity, I guess. Yeah, dreaming is just a really great way to get to know yourself. And my son Jaden is just up listening. He loves dreams. I'm teaching him the art of dreaming, and he's getting all excited about it. But he's like listening in on some of the dreams. You can't be jumping though, sweetie. Can I talk, please? Okay, you're gonna lay down. Thank you. So, anyways, yeah, so some tips and stuff I could say. For me, I think I was kind of jumping in and out, but I heard Brendon talking about how, you know, being patient with yourself, of course, knowing that, like, just like the seasons and just like, this reality, dreams kind of ebb and flow, and being okay with messages that are coming through. I know for me, I always set intention, and I'm always looking at myself as being a conduit for like those higher dimensional places to come through, and whatever they mean to you, because I mean, dreams don't need to be, I guess, like this like profound experience all the time. They can just be a way for us to get to know ourselves better, and to also help our waking reality, like our dreams and our waking reality, all come to the surface. So yeah, something else I wanted to say about dreams is that for me, I definitely look at them as being like the same reflection as like this place. So, in the dream realm, there's dreams that are like outside of ourselves, and then there's also the inner world. So there's the outer world and the inner world, and the same thing takes place when we're awake. So, we have those darker dreams, the shadow work. For me, that can be either collectively or also we're working on our own, whether that's past lives or just trauma from when we were children and so on and so forth. And then there's outer dreams, and those are also linked to the collective. And I think Joseph and Peter briefly was listening to them, and prophetic dreams. And I think with that, you can really like dream for everyone, and we're all dreaming for each other because we're all in this together. So the more we dream and the more we put the work in that, we can bring that back to our daily lives, to our families, to our work, and definitely to our creativity. As you guys know, that I do, most of my art is based off of dreams, and it's very intuitive. So I have these experiences, but then I never plan a piece of art that I'm going to make. It all comes, I sit and I just let it come through. And it comes through in such beautiful ways. So we're all artists, and we all have the ability to be amazing dreamers, be amazing artists, whatever medium that is. And yeah, it's just like we have this we have access to like unlimited knowledge and like power, and just like, it's crazy that people don't do this all the time, like aren't actively doing it. We've lost our way from this amazing medicine that we can just literally lay down and jump into any night. Anyways, I'm like rambling, but yeah, my tips, definitely setting intentions, being easier on yourself, and I think there's a lot of reality checks. If you're planning on like astral projecting or like astral, that kind of thing, that's a little bit more, I would say, really study yourself, listen to your dreams, and then start working on those things, one step at a time. And those things will eventually there's so much happening around me right now. Lay down, please. I know, please lay down. As I'm trying to like let the flow of my thoughts come out. But yeah, I might be able to jump in and give more tips. Of course, I have a whole bunch of dreams that I could share, so if you want me to, I totally can. I know me and Brendon, we always, if we're together, we share our dreams, but also, we're not always together, so we'll like send voice messages. I think this morning we were like sharing each other's dreams with each other, and yeah, they were a little like, definitely, I think, reflective of like the current times, what's going on in the world right now. And it was interesting, we both were like have very post-apocalyptic kind of dreams. So yeah, it was like weird, like we're both in each other's dreams, like they weren't necessarily negative dreams, but they weren't like, it was like this very neutral place to be, and a lot to learn from it still, right? Like the weird thing for me is like my dreams lately have been like not my life. Like I've been really dreaming like I'm other people, which I have many times before, but it's like I'm I'm living someone else's life, and I'm kind of going through their experiences and their traumas. And it was very fascinating. Like a couple of nights ago, I dreamt that I was like this young girl, and like, she had a lot going on in her life and a lot of pain. And she had this like stuff going on with her body and her heart. And like, it was weird because it wasn't me, and like it wasn't my life experiences at all. And but there's a lot that I could learn from it, and it was fascinating. I was like, where is this coming from? I don't know. Like it's nothing from like my daily life, no media I've been watching. It was just like some other girl's life. So very fascinating. And obviously dreams aren't always like that. Sometimes they're completely different. It's just like it's wild. You're like tuning into some frequency, and you're diving in every night. And sometimes you just dive into, you know, past lives, or I it's crazy. Very fascinating though. And I'm all about it. So anyway, Jaden's playing with Lego now, so I will jump out for a second to settle everyone.
Perfect.
I have animals and a child. So
Awesome. Lacey, thank you again, and we'll catch up when we can. So, all right, beautiful, awesome. All right, let's like I said, let's just kind of continue to open to anybody else who feels called to jump in. Some of the people who were speaking earlier, Mason, one of the earlier speakers. If you guys want to jump in, whoever feels called to jump in. And again, it could just be like more tips, more dream experiences. Mason, I know you said you had more dream experiences. Anything else? I mean, you guys help co-create this discussion at this point, so whoever wants to kind of jump in, just go ahead and raise your hands, and we'll pass it over to you, and we'll just kind of chit chat for a little bit longer, and then we'll get close to wrapping it up, and we can do our little dream tree meditation at the end as well. So anybody else feel called to jump in at the moment? Kailey? Yeah. Okay, Kailey, then Mason. Okay, cool. Or Mason, then Kailey. One of the other. Mason, then Kailey. Mason, then Kailey. Okay, cool. All right, go ahead, Mason. When you're ready, jump right in.
Yeah, just sharing on another tip that I've been trying to incorporate while it's still a little bit tough as I'm more familiar with it. What I've been learning is that you can do, some people call it like a reality check. Some people I've heard call it a dream check. What you can do, and it kind of relates to what Kailey was talking about earlier with counting her fingers, is you make a practice of checking on something in your waking reality, whether it be the time, or one that I've been really trying to develop is looking at my hands. And when you do this reality slash dream check, the idea is that the more you cement this into a regular practice that you do in your waking state, the higher the chance that you'll actually perform that dream slash reality check within the dream state. So if you're like, you can, let's say you have 2 hours of your day that is like spent at free time. Maybe on your phone for that 2 hours, you set an alarm that goes off every 20 minutes. And when that alarm goes off, you observe your hands, and you count each finger, like make sure you've got 10. You can feel into the texture, look at your fingerprint, the creases, maybe even just observe into the color of your hands. And then the more and more that you cement that into your waking reality, the higher the chance that you'll actually perform that check within the dream state, and you'll gain more awareness that you're dreaming. It's not easy to do. If you set the alarm, that's definitely like an accountability thing. I've definitely been just trying to make a note of, like, whenever I do see my hands, to really just like sit there and appreciate them, like cultivate presence within a part that's always attached to me. One other reality check that I know is like pretty popular is using the time. You can look at a clock and let's say like, oh, it's 9 o'clock. then look away and look back and make sure it's still 9 o'clock or it's still 9:01. And chances are, if the time is still accurate, you're awake. Yes, make sure it's still a clock. And if you are in a dream, chances are you'll look at the clock and it'll shift, or it'll show you a weird time. Like maybe the time displays 36:89. And it's like, okay, well, that's not a time. And then it triggers that awareness. Yeah, so that's just some tips for dream checks, reality checks that I've been working with as well.
Awesome. And that's been working for you?
On and off, it's really like it comes and goes in waves, really, because I'll have it happen in one dream, and then I'll like spend the whole next week like we were talking about earlier, like you kind of develop this ego of the control of the dream, and it seems that the more I try to focus on it, sometimes the less that it happens in the dream. But I do think that it is still playing into the subconscious, and I do think it eventually will have like a compounding effect.
Yeah, it's definitely something where, again, you know, like anything, it's the habit that you're building. So like it's one of those things where it's like you don't just do it once and if it doesn't work, you quit. Like you really have to kind of like keep showing up and develop that, because it's like developing the routine in the waking life so that it repeats in the dream life, literally just as a habit, you know. And we see that a lot. Like the things we do in our waking life, we repeat in our dream, and that's something that we can use to our advantage. So if we're doing that as a way to be able to program reality checks, and yeah, that's really, really powerful. Mason, what's your experience, and again, I'm just kind of curious and stuff, like in terms of like lucid dreams, like have you had many lucid dreams over the years, so to speak, or?
I've had multiple, probably less than I can count on both hands. I
Yeah.
The thing that happens for me is the moment that I do become aware that I'm within the dream is I get so overexcited that I'm realizing that I'm in the dream that it wakes me up, and I'll wake up and I'm just like, oh, this is so close. um, One practice that I've found that some people say it works. I haven't had a lucid dream since I've found this new practice, but people will say spinning in circles actually can help you like anchor in that present moment awareness within the dream, and then you slowly stop spinning in circles, and then you like gain footing in this new dream state that you're in. But that's the struggle that I have with lucid dreams, is that once I do get into one, it's pretty hard to stay there. I think it takes a lot of discipline, and I definitely want to be able to get there one day where I can sustain one long enough, like to practice something like Kai was mentioning earlier. Like people were practicing piano, like that's so cool to me, but I'm not there yet. So it's definitely something to look forward to.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. And again, even just that's like where the practicalness of meditation leads over into that. So like you become lucid in the dream, and then like your first step there would be like, okay, let's connect with the breath. And so like you're almost like meditating within the dream, which is like this whole thing. And then again, this is a topic we might not get into it too much here tonight, but where it's like you can literally like meditate within a dream, within like a lucid dream, and then almost go into like another layer, kind of like Inception, where it's like then maybe you can meditate in that dream and stuff like that, and then you wake up on another planet or something like that, and then you go through an entire lifetime, and then you die, and then you wake up in your bed and you're just like, oh, what's real, so it can happen straight up. Yeah, Mason, thank you again. And again, I'm going to pass over to Kailey, but just for anybody here, I'd love to just invite people to just kind of like practice sharing, like, what does a lucid dream feel like? If you could just try practicing putting that into words, I'd love to just kind of create that thought experiment. Kailey, pass over to you next. Is that cool? Okay, go ahead, Kailey, when you're ready. And then anybody else after that. I know Lacey had her hand up afterwards, and we'll just kind of go around. Go ahead, Kailey. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just wanted to share a couple of dream experiences real quick, because I know I mentioned earlier that I've been having some prophetic dreams of lately, but they're not very direct. So in one instance, it was a couple months ago, in the dream, I've been having dreams in a grocery store a lot of lately. I'm still trying to interpret it. Like maybe it's like, I don't know, like everything I need is right at my fingertips, like an abundance of things. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out, but a lot of grocery store dreams of lately. Um, and I did do my grocery store trip last week, for anybody who tuned in on Instagram. So it's all very, I don't know why grocery stores are so prevalent for me right now, but anyways. So in the dream, I was in this grocery store with my childhood best friend and her mom. We grew up across the street from each other, and we were just walking around the grocery store, and I like kind of broke off for a second, and I went to the back of the store, and there was like this like cool like stage setup, and there was someone doing a wedding there, a wedding ceremony. I guess they like rent out the back half of the grocery store for weddings. And then I like had like an interaction with the bride and the groom real quick, and then came around to the front of the store, met back up with my childhood friend and her mom, and we walked up, and there was like this booth set up with all this jewelry, and we were picking out rings and like figuring out which ones that we wanted to get. So I didn't think anything of it. And then it was like later that day, I logged into Instagram, and lo and behold, she got proposed to the day before, and she was announcing that with her wedding ring, so her engagement ring. So that was like one I didn't put together at the time. So I'm trying to get better. I feel like I've got something here, but the interpretation is always just super fuzzy. So that's a tool I'm currently working on sharpening, because I thought that was pretty dang sweet. But the other dream I wanted to share, I know I did share this with a few of the group. Let me see. So it was like super vivid. And I know, Brendan, you were asking like when you realize that you're lucid dreaming. For me, it's like you can tell it switches whenever everything becomes like super clear and super in your face. It's like, I'm not going to forget this dream. It's really hard to kind of like recognize in the moment, but some of the dreams, it's like you can literally feel the energy like building in front of you. So the dream I had, I'll actually just read it out to you guys. It started out like me and a group of friends, we were trying to like set up some business or some way to make money. But it ends up going badly. So I'll start here. We submit and decide to abandon our pursuit until we find a better way. We're sitting in a circle in the back of my parents' driveway, eating lunch, brainstorming, and shuffling through old magazines. I flip a page and get a weird feeling. As I flip, this sense gets stronger. Suddenly, the magazine whips open to a page with angel figurines, and the wind begins to blow. Time stops. Someone shouts, oh, time didn't stop yet. Wait. Someone shouts, look, and beneath a cart in front of us, I saw a bunch of eyes. And then this is when time stops. I know instantly what this means. The world falls silent around me, and this blue being stands tall before me. The energy is pulsating. It slowly begins to approach me, and with the amount of electricity, the amount of power, the sheer size of this being, it would frighten most, but instead, I met his many-eye gaze firmly and stepped forward. I do not fear him, for a sense of knowing slowly washes over me. Their stance begins to soften, and they settle into a more human-like form, still blue to my eyes, but with two eyes. This being begins to deliver a stern message that I am still far from God, that time is running out, and I must ignite the path before me before it's too late. They cannot take me in my current form. He makes mention of another being here. The recall gets a little bit fuzzy. And I did forget to ask his name, but actually like later on in my dream space, I woke up after that dream, and then I like, oh crap, I didn't get his name. Okay, well, I'll grab it some other time tonight. And then later on, like I went into a new dream, and it was, I don't know why it's always a weird computer screen, but it was like an old school computer screen. And it was like multiple choice, like what is the being's name, and it was a bunch of different names, and I chose which one felt most appropriate. Sco, I think it like SCO, is the closest interpretation I got. But anywho, so back to the encounter. So recall gets a little bit fuzzy. And then he tells me before walking away, the war is coming. Time has resumed, and he walks through the gathering, and he passes Brendon in front of us here. Which Brendon always appears in my dream spaces in like really random moments. And Brendon's eyes light up in awe. He sees what I see, and our eyes meet. And I mouth to him, "Angel, yeah." And then Brendon's like, "Whoa." And that's how the dream ended. But it was just like a super like powerful dream. Like it was just one of those things, like I want to question it, but there's like no doubt in my mind, like I literally contacted a cosmic angelic being that night. It was just so vivid, and like it was like blue and floating with all these eyes and wings and stuff. It was super crazy. So yeah, dream space has been getting interesting of lately. Lots of prophetic and talking to cosmic beings. I don't know, guys.
That's
Good
awesome.
stuff.
The good stuff. Oh, that's so cool. Kailey, thank you again for sharing that dream. And yeah, see, that's the thing that kind of like fascinates me. It's like as the yuga cycles continue, as consciousness continues to awake, it's almost like the energies kind of get riper. The dream space almost becomes more poignant, so we can kind of like tap into this. So, you know, some of us might have been dreaming about this stuff 10 years ago, but it seems as if more of us are dreaming about these things more recently. And I'm sure there's like other people who maybe in early stages of their own kind of like journey, and it's like, what dreams might they be having where they might kind of be almost literally kind of like getting like snapped out of the spell, out of the amnesia. They're almost awakening within the dream because of some sort of super like vivid dream where and you'll hear people have that, where literally they'll just be kind of going about their own life, and then they'll have some sort of dream that's like realer than real is what they'll refer to it, or it's just like so vivid that it just brings them into this space where they start questioning, and they're just like, oh my goodness, there's more to this reality. And it kind of like leads them and invites them a little bit further on their quest down the rabbit hole. So I love that. And again, I know we've talked about this idea that within dream space, that's like literally where we have the opportunity to develop relationships with, you know, OUs, other us's, multi-dimensional beings. And again, the dream that Kailey had there, again, I think it's just like one example of many. And so it's just like, how do we continue to develop that? And again, I think us having this discussion and inviting in this curiosity is also kind of sending out the signal where they're just like, oh, cool. Like these people who are tuned into you know, this discussion are people who will be, you know, willing and open to these ideas when we arrive. And I love the idea where Lacey said this, where it's like, we are dreaming for each other. You know, so it's like, how can we become ambassadors for our messages? You know, in the same way, if we were out there and we had some sort of crazy UFO experience and we returned back to the village, part of us naturally, relatively speaking, would be like, this is what I saw, this is happening, you know, I bring this back to the village so more people can know, and so they too can look to the sky. And so it's kind of like in the dream space, it's like we come back and it's like, this is what happened, so that you too can look within, so that you too aren't missing what is happening. And I think it is kind of the thing, I've used that metaphor before, where it's like the universe is kind of like pouring forth this like golden liquid of giftness. That's not the best way to explain it. But what we need to do is kind of like hold up our chalice to be able to receive it. And until we do, it's kind of like pouring it, but we're not holding it, we're not receiving it. So we have to, it's our free will where we have to kind of like hold the cup up to be able to like receive the gift of the dream experiences and the dream wisdom. So yeah, no, it's super fascinating. Just think where we'll be in, you know, like a year from now, 2 years from now, if we really just continue to focus this. I can imagine, you know, like again, just Kailey, like who knows where your dreams will just be having like dance parties with blue beans every night or something like that, you know? So it's like, invite me. Hopefully I'm still there. So let's go. And shout out to those of you who have had me as like a recurring character in your dream. like I don't really take credit for it. Like, I don't know, it just happens. But I guess in some degree or another, whether you guys just watch me too much or on some soul level I'm just around or something, but it humbles me. I think, yeah, go ahead, please, Kailey. How many times have I showed up in your dreams? Flip open the journal and I mean, I'm not really, but
I literally could actually.
really.
But I also feel like that's important to recognize, like when someone like that appears in a dream, like it also can be a representation of like my part within the paradigm shift community. And sometimes it might just genuinely be you. But after I told you that dream last week, after last week's podcast, that night I also had a dream that Yumi and Lacey actually went on a burn run where we go in a car and consume cannabis.
What'd you call it? A what run?
A burn run.
A burn run. Okay, I just didn't hear what you said there.
Like,
never heard that term before. I like it though.
Term, but that's what we call it.
I dig it. A burn run on our way to the grocery store or something.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So we were on this burn run, and it was like super brief, but like I was just getting like super sleepy, and you were driving, and like Lacey like wiggled into the driver's seat, and you were like, oh, hold on, and you went and you got me a blanket because I was falling asleep, and you tucked me in.
Aww.
And that was it.
And that's it.
Like it had no like connection to any other dreams that night. It was just that quick flip. So.
Oh, that warms my heart to be able to hear, because it sounds like something I would do. You know, it sounds like something where Lacey, take the wheel. I need to put a blanket on Kailey. She's falling asleep. And then you go into that dream, and then you're dreaming of a dream within a dream and stuff like that. So, yeah, Kailey, please, but you have my permission to feel free to, you know, if I show up in a dream, feel free to tell me. You know, it's all relative, and that's the thing, you know, like just because someone shows up in your dream doesn't mean like you have to tell them. Like it's a very personal decision, and you're gonna feel it out every single time. And again, as Kailey was saying, it's not like it's always literally me or something like that. Like it's like I'm like a character that's like a symbol of something that represents something to Kailey, in the same way that anybody else could be for anybody else, so to speak. So in the same way, sometimes like a celebrity will show up in your dream. It's like that celebrity isn't actually the celebrity. It's like the symbol of what that celebrity represents. But yeah, no, it's something I'm absolutely curious about. So Kailey, thank you again, and thank you for just being here. I really appreciate you being a part of this amazing community. So it's beautiful. So cool. We're growing together. Okay. Lacey, I know, again, just checking in. Did you want, because you're kind of back and forth, did you want to share anything, Lacey? And again, anybody else, like, please let me know. Like, I'm not, whoever else wants to jump in. Lauren, you want to share something? Okay, so, okay, there's not too many of us left at this point. Okay, Lauren, Lacey, who wants to go first? Whatever you guys. Okay, Lauren? Yeah? Lauren wants Lacey to go first. So, okay. Okay, I guess. Okay. Lacey, if you're okay with going next, go right ahead. Oh, actually, okay, hold on. I want to share my dream story, because I don't even have a heck of a lot of dream stories and stuff like that. Like, that's honestly, like, yeah, over the past couple of weeks and stuff, my dreams, like I've barely been smoking cannabis in the same way. Like, you know, sometimes depending on my schedule, I might do it like, you know, every day or every other day and stuff like that. But over the past while, it's like I just, you know, maybe on the weekend, and that's just kind of like me listening to my heart, listening to my soul. But pro tip, obviously smoking cannabis does affect dream recall, relatively speaking, for the most part. But yeah, so I didn't really remember too much of my dreams over the past couple nights. But last night, going back to what I mentioned with Cami, the dream that I did have, like, honestly, one of my recurring dreams that I've had since a child is like crazy apocalyptic stuff, like asteroids and crazy stuff, like crazy stuff. And it was weird because that came up again. And so the dream that actually happened is like, I don't know if I was on another planet or something, but basically, like, I literally saw like a freaking nuke like being launched, and I was there with like a group of people, and my experience was like literally like seeing, there was like multiple explosions, but there was one explosion in particular that was like within our radius. And like the explosion happened and basically my experience within the dream, and I'm just talking about literally, like, I'm not even like trying to get into the symbolism of it, but literally just like what happened was like the explosion happening, and it was like red, like it was like this red planet. maybe this could have been like, maybe it was on Maldek. Maybe this is when Maldek got destroyed or something like that. You know, shout out to Neil talking about that. That's a whole, like, it's like the 12th planet that became the asteroid belt. Allegedly. But we'll see. But yeah, but the key thing within that dream is that the nuke exploded, and I just kind of like remember just kind of like meditating in the moments before the wave kind of like came to me. Like it wasn't like I was like, no, it was just kind of like this like super deep surrender. And it was just kind of like, just this is like it wasn't like I had an opinion of it. It was just this is it. And then it was just kind of like this moment where I literally remember basically like turning my back and just kind of closing my eyes, and then just kind of like feeling the moment, and then like actually like feeling it. And it was like basically like as if like a tidal wave kind of like moved through me, and it was like a wave of energy. And it was very visceral, and I think I was with other, like I was with other people, like Lacey might have been there, I can't say for certain. But yeah, I just remember like this like just like this like deep calm presence. And again, like I don't know like if I were to interpret that, again, I think it's kind of like this deep thing of just kind of like the fate of destruction is the joy of rebirth, one of those analogies, or just kind of like trusting this process, or really just being able to kind of like find strength in the storm or something like that. It could have been any of those things. But yeah, no, that's one of my dreams. And then I had another dream where I was like, man, the dreams that suck the most, one of the dreams that sucked the most was like, this was like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks, I don't even remember. I had a dream where I was like showing up, and there was like a hockey game that was going on, and I was like so excited to play, and I was like getting my equipment on, and I was getting ready, and then I like woke up right before I started playing hockey, and I was just like, and I like woke up, I'm like, damn it, like just wanted to play hockey, because I haven't played hockey in like a year, right? So anyways, so obviously got some pent up issues that I have to deal with there. Clearly some deep rooted childhood trauma related to not being able to play hockey enough. So anyways, hashtag Canadian life or something like that. I don't know. Our Canadians are all rooted in our hockey traumas. So anyways, okay, enough about me. Let's pass this around. We'll keep an eye on the clock. Let's get things wrapped up by 11. And we'll just do a short meditation by the end. We're not going to go into like a super deep one. I'm tired. Lacey, we'll pass it over to you, and then Lauren will pass it over to you. Lacey, if you anything you feel called to share, stories or whatever you feel, welcome back, Lacey.
I'm back. So hard. Like I know it's like a talking stick, but then like Kailey's talking and you're talking and everyone's talking, Lauren's talking, and I'm like, oh, I have something, I want to talk about that. Like we talk about sleep paralysis there, which I have a lot to talk about with that. I'll have to do another talk because I have a lot to say about dreams. Firstly, I would say like Kailey, your dream is so amazing. As someone who definitely dreams of other places, other dimensions, and higher dimensional beings, angels, what have you. It was really beautiful to hear you articulate that dream and just how well you brought it into this world. I think you did a really beautiful job of bringing us there. So I just wanted to say that. And I'd love to meet that being. So I'm going to put it out there. Anyways, so I do have a dream that I could share. And this dream was probably like last year sometime. And it was a really, really potent dream for me. And I also want to touch base with some lucid stuff as someone who's been lucid dreaming. I can't say that I'm a master at it or anything like that, but I've had a lot of experiences. And I think it's Mason was talking about how easy it is to kind of like once you get into that lucid, sorry if I'm bouncing around a lot, but lucid state, to just like drop out and then wake up. I've had that issue in the past before as well. I get really excited and there's like this rush of adrenaline, and it's like you're waking up for the first time. Like that's what it feels like. It's like this very like you're being birthed or something. Like that's the only way I can explain it, is like the colors, you're like seeing true color for the first time. And it, of course, it would be overwhelming to experience that. So it's like, whoa, and like kind of like being on a roller coaster. You're like, you get to the top and you're like, oh my God, oh my God. And it's like right before you kind of, go down, and it's easy to just tap out at that point. For me, what I've noticed that's worked is, and Brendon kind of touched base with this, is the whole meditation process and being present with your breath. So for me, I do a lot of mantras in my dreams, and they actually have been such a big help for grounding myself to explore like these other dimensional realms, and to be super good at lucid dreaming and living lifetimes, like going to places to the edges of the universe just by being present with my breath. So when I feel myself like I'm coming to realize that I'm in a dream, I shut my eyes and I listen to my breath, and I feel my feet and I feel my hands. And I'm really, really being present in my body. And you'll feel the rush. It's kind of like an orgasm. It's like your head's expanding, and then it kind of bleeds out, and then you're there and you've made it. So I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like, listen to your breath, and it will anchor you in that place. So I'll just go right into this really cool dream, which I've shared with Brendon before. I have it on my phone. Like, I typed it out on here, and this was a really, really potent dream for me. It blew my mind, and just like, anyways, I'll just read it, and then, yeah. 1 second. The kitten just meowing in the background. Okay, so usually with dreams like this, I like give them like a title, and like I have like separate dream journals. So I have like dream journals that are more so just like I jot things down. It's like I was in a castle in Scotland, and I walked down by the river or something like that. And then there's some dreams that are just so potent that I have a separate book for them. And some people don't agree on that, but that's how it works for me. And those ones I usually revisit a lot because there's a lot in those dreams for me personally. So it seems to work for me. So this particular dream, I think I had it, last year, later in the year. So a UFO in a field, a light emanates from the center of it. It is silver and almost liquid in nature, hovering above the ground. It is round but oval. So it's almost like this, this ship is fluid but solid. It was very weird. Like, I couldn't fully identify what it was made out of. So it was kind of moving and I don't know how to say that word, but kind of rippling. I see words etched on the surface of it, but I cannot read them. It seems to be a different language. The sun has set and there is a glow in the distance. Sitting on the grass, I am just staring into it. So I was sitting across from it, just looking into this thing. I'm with 2 people who are also doing the same. So we're all sitting in a row looking out at this, weird object. And in my mind was a UFO. There's a moment when I think, okay, this is just not going to happen. Like, I don't know why I said that to myself. And a voice enters my brain and says, surrender. The light at the center of the ship, there's like a little light, grows, and I'm swallowed by it. I meld with the ship, and I become one with all that is, all with the universe. I enter this like this white like void. It's like of pure bliss is all I can describe it as. All pain, suffering, joy, love, ecstasy wash over me time and time again on an infinite loop. I'm feeling like every emotion I have ever felt as a being, like not just in this lifetime, but like multiple lifetimes. I lay there paralyzed with my eyes shut in a white, vast, empty space. My laugh rings out into the empty field as I move from one emotion to another. tears begin to stream down my face, soaking my whole shirt as I wail in agony and with joy as well. So I'm in pain, but I'm also in love. And it was crazy. I start to have memories flood into me of all these different lives where I'm helping people, I'm supporting other people. All these different hands are resting on my shoulders and voices of gratitude and love. I'm like getting emotional, but anyways, pour into me in this moment. Sorry, I didn't realize this dream was like, I haven't read it in a while. See, this is why I put them in separate books. Sorry, all these different hands resting on my shoulders, voices of gratitude and love pour into me in this moment as I realize my soul's contract spans lifetimes. I see temples, scholarly halls. I see myself a student, a teacher, a lover, a child. In all my different forms and all my different lives, it is like a ripple merging with every part of me like a time lapse. Multiple me's are fractaling out. I feel everything, the pure bliss of awareness. I awaken to see the ship's light has dimmed. I know that the ship is a sentient being. Like this ship is like intelligent. And this being has given me a gift. I sit up in the grass. There's no words to describe what just had happened. Both my friends who were with me are still there, and they had also, I think, entered some type of like, I don't know, psychedelic experience like I had. And these are just like my dream friends. I don't know who they were, but I look back. So we get up and we start to exit the field. Like, what just happened? Like, whoa, that was insane. And I look back to see a mysterious cloaked man walk up to the ship. He touches it, and then the ship shrinks down to the size of his hand, and he puts it in his pocket before disappearing into thin air like a wisp of smoke. So he like, I don't know how he did, but it was like, whoo, and it went into his hand, and then he popped it in his pocket, and then he was gone. And I know there was more dreams that happened after that, which I think I wrote in a separate book. Like, I dream jumped and went to different places, but that was like, I think earlier in the evening. And I usually set a time for myself to wake up, to have my best, like when I'm in my deepest REM, so I can like wake up shortly after, so it's as vivid and easy to recall as this one. Anyways, yeah, it was weird. I was like really in that dream just now. I was like, whoa, that just took me back. But yeah, so it was a really beautiful dream, and it just showed me just how like amazing, and I don't even know how to put it into words, but like that was a dream. Like I literally went to bed and I just had like a profound shamanic psychedelic experience. And whether or not that came from my own heart, whether or not that came from like a higher dimensional space, it awakened a part of me that I knew what my purpose here on earth was. And I think it's not that I didn't know it before, but it's always nice to have the reminder, it's like, okay, yes, like this is like, thank you, great whatever's out there for reminding me just how important it is that I bring this back into this world. So we all have that ability. We all can go to those places. So yeah, anyways, that was a heavy one. I didn't realize that one was so heavy. I just like clicked on. I was like, oh yeah, I that dream was really good. I'm like, oh, that one like was really emotional one for me. And like there's more to that one, specifically about the lives that I revisited, where I was actually a student to become a doctor, and like really it goes further than that, but that's just kind of a condensed version of what I experienced in that space. But yeah, novels
Wow.
of dreams. So
Wow.
yeah.
I love that. It's just like this
It's really
like
beautiful,
endless library of dreams within us. Yeah. And Lacey, how long ago was that dream?
really. That was last year.
Last year. Yeah. Go
like
ahead.
like later in the year. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just saying,
you're just supposed, yeah, libraries of dreams are, yeah.
libraries of dreams, and I've been like um moving more, and I've been like looking into the Akashic records since I was probably like 18 or 19, and I always would end up in that space with no intention. I would just be there. I would like, there'd be someone showing me the way. They would never like lead me into the Akashic records, but they would be like, hey. And I would always be so nervous, it's like, do I want to go in there? Do I want to see? Um, and that came from my own, I think insecurities and just fears of what would be on the other side and how much I really wanted to know. I've always been a very curious person since I like probably the day I was born. Always very curious and dreaming since I was a little girl. And yeah, and now as a 30-year-old woman, I feel I've just been leaning more into um, that aspect of my life and my dreaming life, as I'm learning so much about myself and about this planet and why I'm here and why I came to Earth and why I'm connecting with all of you guys right now. So yeah,
It's
it's
beautiful.
really cool.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Lacey, thank you. Thank you again. And again, just thanking everybody again, everybody who's here. You guys are here for a reason because you chose to be, and having these discussions is so meaningful and valuable. And again, for everybody here, thank you for just being an example of why dreams are important, why dreams matter. So I wish more people could just kind of tune into these conversations and just be like, whoa, like this makes me want to get curious about exploring dreams, just to know what's possible, so each one of us here is an example of that. So it's beautiful. Lauren, do you want to pass over to you next if you want to go? And again, we'll just keep chatting here for a bit. You guys feel free to just let me know. And Kai, Sonya, again, if you guys want to jump in after Lauren, just let me know. That's cool. And I liked, quick note, when Lacey was sharing, I liked how basically all of us were just like closing our eyes and listening, which I feel like is a cool thing to do with when anybody's sharing a dream. And I've definitely done that with Lacey, like even when she's like sharing dreams with me one-on-one, where I'll be like, okay, like tell me the dream. And I'll like meditate while she's telling me and kind of go there, and then it almost kind of like, I'm like, oh, like I see it, I feel it, like it's tapping into this information and stuff. Even if it's like dreams where it involves me, like that's been trippy, where she tells dreams that involve me and then she'll tell me it. And then for me, it's almost as if I'm like remembering it, where like I'll be like, whoa, what was that? No, seriously, what was that, Lauren? What was it? I'm just was that like a cat? Was it, what was it?
Kenny farted.
Was it a cat fart? Or no, it was your boyfriend fart? Is that what it was? Whoa, that was a ripper. That's what that was. So
Your dreams last night.
that's cool. That's cool. You ever have a dream so good where you fart yourself awake? So yeah, that's good reality check there. Anyways, okay, we're getting, is this on topic, off topic? I don't even know. Okay. All right, Lauren, pass it over to you. Keep these high vibes going. So when you're ready, Lauren.
Well, I want to just say thank you, Lacey, so much for sharing that dream. Oh my goodness, I felt like my heart opened to call in more alien UFO dreams into my space, just being in your aura and hearing that. So thank you. Oh my goodness, that was awesome. Let's see. I was going to go a little bit more into like that feeling and lucid dreaming and when it happens. And I'm also really curious, Lacey, when you set your alarms, like how many hours? Because there are stages of dreaming. There's like the wishful thinking stage right before we go to bed, and some random thoughts start to pop up, and we might see like a weird face or hear like, I've heard, people screaming at each other, like babies crying, like random things I'll hear right before bed. And that's like the wishful thinking part. And then there's the REM stage where we're rapid eye movement, and then the venting stage. And that venting stage is usually when we remember our dreams the most during that stage. So that's like when it's the most vivid, right when we wake up, that's when we're going to remember that venting stage. So I am curious your timing of how you set it up. I know like Albert Einstein used to set his time like every 3 hours he would wake up or something like that, which is really interesting. But what else did I wanted to touch on just some dreams I've had, and just premonition dreams. Actually last month I dreamt about Rebecca Stables from Happy Hearts House. I don't know if she's listening right now, but it was the day before I did the paradigm shift meditation last month with riding the waves of clarity. And I did that meditation based off of my dream, my lucid dream that I had riding the waves. So that was fun to do. But the night before I did that meditation, I had a dream of this little girl and she had braids. We were in a grocery store too, Kailey. So I thought that was funny. Um, and she put her hand out to mine and I just touched her hand. And we were in line and it was so busy and everyone was all aggravated around us and like yelling at each other. But like me and this little girl just had such a deep connection. And then it was beautiful. It just stood out to me so much. And then the next day I did that paradigm shift meditation and I met Becca. I met her for the first time and she posted this video of Ava doing the laughter yoga part of meditation. And that was just so beautiful. It was one of my most grateful moments last month was just to see I'm not around children very often. Children don't surround me, so it's beautiful that I'm a child in my own self a little bit, but it was so beautiful. So it was a very prophetic dream as well. I've also dreamt about you guys. I dream about people a lot, people in my life that I just meet randomly, random people. Um, and yeah, we've been like on hideaways together, like trying to sneak around and like doing all these missions. Well, I go like in under like ground worlds. And I unlock like doors all the time, like a weirdo. I don't know what I'm doing in dreams, but I'm just so the feeling in lucid dreams is like I can control what I'm doing, but I can't control the situation I'm in. So when I feel like I'm in a dream, I know my surroundings and I start to be like, okay, we're here now. We're doing this. And like I usually have like a funny attitude, even if it's a nightmare. I just turn to humor a lot. I think it does help to be a little bit more lucid because that fear state puts us in that contracted mode versus when we're, feeling calm with that breath work. Even like mentioning that breath work is so important. I think a lot of us naturally also, I know Brendon's mentioned you howl in your sleep a lot. I do like I'll just do that in my sleep and I don't notice until like I just wake up. I've also woken up just like this a lot where I'm like I don't know what I'm doing in the air. And Kenny, it was funny right before sleep last night, me and Kenny were talking about channeling aliens. And really in hypnosis you can channel your spirit guides. You can bring in so many different beautiful beings in your world, in your life and around you, and calling them in, all of these beautiful light beings, and setting those intentions and calling them in. So taking practice with meditation helps as well. But Kenny just kind of went into it yesterday. Who were you talking to? What was his name? Oh, you just said it. It was so good. What was it? Prololith Zulan. Prololith Zulan was in the house, and he was like this blue being that sent him on a mission. He was half asleep, and I'm just doing hypnosis on him, asking him questions of where he's located. Like, he didn't mind. And then what did he have to do? His mission was to take down the main grid. So he had to take down the main grid. And it's just like little things like that that you hear and you see and you're visualizing this and listening to it and feeling it and just incorporating all of those. It's just great to practice and exercise, and it's just fun also. So yeah, I have any other really interesting dreams lately? I do dream about like tornadoes a lot. Oh, some mob bosses this month, I guess. No, nothing. No, nothing. A lot of planes. I'm definitely going on a trip soon, but hopefully we all are a little bit.
Awesome, beautiful. Thank you, Lauren, for sharing. Okay, let's just anybody else just want to either reply to Lauren, Kai? Yeah, go right ahead, Kai. Jump right in.
Oh, just like quick like additions to everything that everyone shared. Just kind of going back to with what Mason was sharing, with kind of like the reality checks. Yeah, like the hand thing has worked for me a bit. But just like checking my hands throughout the day. Clocks works really well, or like anything like with writing on it, like anything with words. Like just look away and look back at it. and just to make sure you're not dreaming. Because yeah, it's a funny thing. Like I've had it where again, it was a clock in my dream, and I had that that habit triggered. I was like, oh, let's look at it again, and it was like it was not a clock anymore. It was like it was something that was like a different. It was a different furniture or something. So that's what like for me like every time I like kind of maybe snap into lucidity, it feels like a snap. It feels like a oh my gosh, I am lucid. But the funny part is, it's like m- for me it's not quite like getting so excited because I'm lucid. I'm trying to manipulate stuff and then I wake up. Like that might happen like a few times, but for me, like my like the trick that happens to me is like pretty much really quickly I fall asleep into another dream. And then like I wake up in this other dream and thinking that it's like usually the second layer of the dream, it's like a mundane basic dream. It feels like just a boring real life. And it's so funny because I'll wake up in that other dream and it's like a boring real life dream, and I'm always like telling people, I'm like, oh my gosh, you can't believe, like last night I was lucid dreaming. And I'll explain to them the lucidity in the moment that it happened. And then like shortly after, I'll actually wake up from that dream into like real life. And I'm just like, God damn it, again. And like the last 3 or 4 times that I kind of had a lucid dream in the last maybe 6 months, it was the same thing. Like I would just like fall into another fake wake up, and I would get tricked again and again. So yeah, so reality check, I think it does help because the way that I usually snap into lucidity has been like one time it was like in the dream, like I was like with my best friend, like my kid best friend, like like lost in the desert, and we're like trying to find a way out. And like I was like, okay, let's just find a gas station, we'll use the phone and we can like make the call and we'll get out. And we're like, like we're getting thirsty and we're like kind of dying. And then he was like, "Oh, I figured it out. Look, the moon." And I was like, "Oh my god, fuck off! Like, we need to find a gas station." And I looked at the moon, and like I love staring at the real moon a lot, so I know it pretty well. So pretty much instantly when I looked at the dream moon, I knew it wasn't the real moon, and I was like, you have that snap, like, "Oh, I'm lucid dreaming," and then yeah, then I fell into another fake dream. So yeah, those are always fun. That's what Mason said. What else did we talk about here? Oh yes, I just wanted to say, yeah, that it's almost like there's like different types of dreams. Like there's some dreams where it could just be like a replay of like the day, but then there's like those vivid dreams where like you wake up and like you feel different, or you wake up with like just so much energy, as if like something like a big shift or a big change actually happened. And I believe like something does happen if you're able to remember it. Because I think there's something special to be said with you being able to observe and remember that dream, to allow it to have that deep instant shift in your life. Like I've had dreams where like I just woke up like just feeling so uplifted and so alive, as if like there was this big perspective shift that happened. I don't necessarily know what exactly happened, but like there was like significant change. And like I guess like I'll just leave you at this note. Like what I've just been thinking so much with everyone sharing. Because I believe there's so much power with you being able to observe your dreams, even though you're not lucid, you're not manipulating it. Because it just reminds me, like, one of the basic tenets of quantum physics is that when something changes with it just being observed. So I think with us observing our dreams and being able to remember it, or even just the action of observing our dreams, I believe it's like that observation of us observing kind of ourself or whatever, collective or aliens. I believe it's just that observing itself, something shifts and happens, whether if you analyze it or not, whether if you like figure it out or not. Like I think there's something that goes on in just that observing itself. Thanks
Thank
everyone.
you.
Like I'm so
Thank you.
inspired now. And
Yeah.
kind of what Brendan was saying, like smoking weed, yeah, no dreams. So I've been smoking a lot of weed, and today is my first day of hopefully many days where I'm going to take a break. And for me, I always notice after you smoke for a long time and you stop, it's like the dreams are like extra crazy, extra vivid, and sometimes like dark and twisted. So I am kind of excited slash nervous, but mostly excited to dream again.
Awesome. Kai, thank you so much. And please tell me more about your League of Legend dreams. I'm, I'm joking, but I'm not joking because I dream of video game stuff all the time. So
Yeah, it's so funny because it goes on the freaking same theme as the basketball dreams. Like I'm pretty
Mm.
good at the games, but it's always like I'm
pretty
like
good at the
logging in with like
games.
my best friend, my brother, and like I pick the wrong character, like I'm being a goof, and then we get into the game and like I don't know what I'm doing, and it's just like why?
Are you the character in the game, or are you like top down? League of Legends is like a top down kind of like strategy, almost an RTS game.
Yeah, I guess that's like the dreaminess, right? Because then it's like you're like in
Yeah.
it, but then you like are top down, and then you're like
Yeah.
sometimes it's, like, behind the shoulder observing it,
Yeah.
but it's like you're feeling it vividly. So yeah, a mixture of kaleidoscopic different person views.
Kaleidoscopic. That's where Kailey's name like actually becomes like a practical word. Whoa. Like I wasn't. Is kaleidoscopic a word? Kaleidospective. Well, Kailey, what's your name again? Kaleidospective. Kaleidoscopic is the actual word though, right? Yeah. But I feel like kaleidospective is like it's like how would you explain your dream? It was kaleidospective. What does that mean? It means it was like seeing in multiple dimensions and perspectives simultaneously. Is that kind of is that the intention?
Every little second, it's like a different turn of the kaleidoscope.
Yeah, you little and your first person, your third person. So and Kailey, I'm sure you resonate. Kailey's a gamer as well too, right? So Kailey, do you dream of video games as well too? As we're just talking about video, we're just geeking out, right? Combining dreams and video games into one conversation. I'm just like,
Yeah, I swear I play other video games, but I play Fortnite the most, and I'm pretty much in Fortnite like every single night of my dreams. It'll just like randomly lead into like we'll be like landing down in the map, and my dream like takes place from there. I swear. But I whenever I was younger, I used to like I still have my Super Nintendo, and oh my god, I have so many great games on that thing. We could totally geek out on video games sometime, but I used to like sleepwalk in the middle of the night in Super Mario. Like I would literally be walking down my hallway. My mom would have to come out and put me back to bed because I'd be like jumping around and going like bloop 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 bloop. Like sleepwalking playing Super Mario. So yeah, definitely like even like TV shows and stuff too. Oh my gosh, if I'm like watching like I was watching Sabrina, the new Sabrina, the Chilling Adventures or whatever, and I dreamt witch stuff for like a month, and I'm finally like getting past that. Interesting how it weaves into the dream space.
yeah, super cool. Anybody else here dream of video games? Is that a thing? Anybody else? Sometimes, yeah. Mason, yeah. No, I definitely. A big game I'm into is a game called 7 Days to Die, which is like a zombie apocalypse game. And so I dream about zombie apocalypse, but I was dreaming about zombie apocalypse stuff way before I started playing that game. But then sometimes it's like funny because I'll be like as I'm like falling asleep, I'll be like dreaming of myself playing the game, and I like know the mechanics of the game, so I like keep the same mechanics within my dream imagination. So it feels like I'm literally in the game, and then it slowly transitions into the dream sometimes. I don't know, it's pretty trippy. I think it's probably a bad sign. I think I play too much video games. Straight up, if anybody here also 7 Days to Die, if you want to Kai play 7 Days to Die with me sometime. I swear it's really fun. It's like an open world zombie kind of like survival game with like crafting, and it's like Minecraft but with zombies and stuff. Really fun. I got my own little world there. Kai, did you? I wasn't sure if you're open. We're almost done here, guys. Lacey, you have your hand up too. Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Lacey. Okay, we'll get closer wrapping it up in the next couple of minutes. Go ahead, Lacey. Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah, and then Kai just said that he's afraid of zombies.
Oh no.
No, that game is fun that Brendon's talking about. It's cool. I like it. But I was gonna say it's like because I've been playing VR on and off lately, and definitely a notice like perception like And there's like, there's like a lot of like new VR games coming out that are really meta, and like I was just like in another one where it was like it's kind of campy and funny. It's kind of like it's just like a stupid little game, but like you're like entering like layered reality, like virtual reality in it. So you move from one room to the next, and you're like, oh, and then there's like goggles there, and then you put goggles on again, and then you enter another like level, and I'm like, oh man, this is like tripping me out. And like it's cool. Like VR fascinates me, and it's like I'm a gamer too. It's cool that there's a bunch of gamers in here, but VR is just like, whoa, like what's possible. And you know, there's this one game, it's called The Room, and I love puzzle games, and especially in VR. And this game is like so dreamlike, and it touches base with like magic and like ancient cultures and like Egyptian stuff, and like really trippy. And I did notice that like there was a few dreams that I had that were really based around like magic, and like using magic out of my own like hands, which I do anyways a lot in dreams. I always have like some ability to like wield great power. You know, I had this reoccurring dream where there was this old hag that she would always show up, and she, I don't know who she is in my life, but she, you know, always scared me. But I would like wield this great power, very very much like Skyrim, and like it was like purple electricity, and I was like, Ksh, and I like shock her, and she would shrink down into this little old witch, and it was pretty cool. It was fun. I was like, just shock this old witch. Just like, you know, you can do that with lucid stuff too. Like you're lucid. My favorite thing to do is definitely become a superhero. I mean, I love Avengers and I love all that stuff. So I'm like, what power do I want today? Like, I think Lauren was talking about that, like just like lifting stuff like with her mind. So it's fun. They all mirror each other, like this reality, dream reality, game reality. It's all like mirrored fractaling versions of ourselves. So cool. I love it.
So meta.
Now I want to play some games. Like
I know, right? So after the broadcast, we're all just gonna stay up and play games tonight. Is that the plan?
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
know,
I'm playing Half-Life, so.
Oh, you've been getting back into it. Yeah. I know, and that's where like straight up, like honestly, like the future of video games will basically be video games that are like lucid dreaming. Like that will be the game. It will be kind of like very dreamlike. Like they already exist. Like that's already there. Like yeah, the VR stuff and everything like that. And then we're gonna be like in VR, but maybe we're already in VR and stuff like that. Spiritual.
I wanted
VR.
to add one more thing.
Yeah.
About that is that like VR and dreaming, train us. You know, you jump into a dream and like it's like there's trials, you know, tribulations. You're learning how to like overcome. And with your recent post-apocalyptic dream and how you said you stood in this like cataclysm, you know, this crazy thing, it just showed you just like how powerful you really are in the face of adversity and in the face of like something really really traumatic and crazy. And you do hold that, like you already have that inside of you, and that's exactly what that dream showed you. And dream or video games, same thing. You're showing up, you're like, what am I capable of doing? What can I do in this game and build my character? And it's so cool. It's really cool. The human experience is trippy, multi-layered.
Yeah. We'll just geek out on this for a little bit more, and I'll just say real quick where it's like, yeah, like when are video games at their best? Like when we're immersed. Like when we kind of like forget that we're holding the controller and we like are the character, you know, like that's why like when I play my zombie video game and stuff like that, like I like to be scared. I like to get kind of like freaked out and have my flashlight turned on and be like, oh man, what's around the corner? Like that's the thrill. Like that you're safe, you know you're safe, but you like to kind of like play the experience and really immerse yourself. And then you do kind of have this safety where it's just kind of like, oh, you can step away from it, and then it's like you're okay. And then like dreams kind of serve the same thing, where we can go through something really crazy and we're immersed and we have this soul experience and we're learning and we're feeling, and then we can kind of and we're okay with it and we kind of move away from it. And I feel like, I don't know, maybe life's gonna be like, you know, people talk about that philosophy where it's like when you die, it's like kind of like you like wake up and it's just like, oh, like that was that just a game? Like it's like, oh, you're so okay. Again, that's a topic for another podcast. And so maybe that'll be next week's podcast. It's like spiritual wisdom of the metaphysical craziness of life, the meta-ness or something like that. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about video games next week. We do that? That could be a thing. I don't know. We'll do that. We'll figure it out. So, okay. Have to acknowledge we do have a couple more people who joined in. Shout out to Jessica Flash. Shout out to Leeza. Thank you guys so much for joining. We'll just kind of chit chat here. I know you guys are joining in a little bit late, but no worries. We still got room for you, and then we'll get close to wrapping it up. Quick note, just while I do have everybody's attention. Making the call now. Tomorrow morning, normally we have like our Friday morning meditation. Tomorrow morning we're gonna hold off on it, so no morning meditation tomorrow, but I'm like choosing that from a place of intention, a place of power, with the intention to also just encourage people to just kind of like turn inwards, do your own morning meditation, maybe incubate your dreams and stuff like that. So just putting that out there. So for those of you who are kind of tuned in now, just so you guys know, and I'll put up a post in Paradigm Shift, and then we'll do another one next Friday. But just for this Friday, I feel it's just like, yeah, I feel like it'd be a good day to just kind of, we've been doing it for like 57 weeks in a row. I think we deserve to take a little bit of a pause. So yeah. Okay, cool. Lacey, Kai, everybody else, thank you so much. Kailey, Mason, and everybody's in the chat as well. Flash, Leeza, if one of you guys wants to jump in, Leeza will pass it over to you. And again, please, you can talk about what we're talking about. You can just talk about dream stuff in general, and probably about maybe 15 minutes, we'll get close to wrapping it up. So go ahead, Leeza. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. So I wanted to say, I came in, Lacey, you were talking, and I adore the way that you describe your dreams and the way that like you just have so much knowledge, and it was just like exactly what I needed to hear in that moment, and I just wanted to say thank you. Um, and everyone here, like, thank you. So I wanted to talk about, so recently I haven't really been remembering my dreams, but there was this one dream, and I'm called to share it with you guys, that was just stood out. And it just, everything I haven't really been remembering or recalling them very well. And then there's one dream that was like so vivid. And I was in a courtroom, and it was me on the prosecution and me as the defense. And it was like, I was just like, I was playing like all of the parts in the courtroom. And I woke up kind of like realizing the theme of judgment and realizing that, you know, we tend to judge ourselves and sometimes, and it's okay, but we're playing all the parts and we're playing everything. And I really loved the fact that I was like sad about it was like weird that it was in this courtroom, that, and like, because I hadn't seen anything, and I don't remember being in a courtroom I don't think I've ever been in a real courtroom. And so it was just so vivid and so clear. And then what Kai was saying, where you just observe your dreams and observe what happened, and then it kind of goes into the day and goes into what is how you're healing, and how in your dream space, you're healing in your dream space, and you're bringing it into when you wake up, the real world, if you want to call it that. And you're just being you, and you're healing it, and you're just bringing, everything is just so connected in that kind of sense. So it's important to just let it happen. And when you want your dreams, when you need to remember a dream, and when a dream is important enough for you to remember, you'll remember it. And that's what I have to say on that. So thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Leeza, for sharing. So beautiful. Okay, Jessica, Flash, do you want to jump right in? Yeah, when you're ready, go right ahead, Flash.
Yeah, thank you. I'm like halfway to dream space right now.
Aren't we all?
You know,
it's nice. It's
right.
like we're like tapped into that energy right now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice this is good energy right here. And yeah, I loved the comparison. I hopped in when Lacey was talking about, video games and that connection with the avatar in that space is really profound for me. I'm really kind of on that journey these days of kind of identifying with that, and
dream space for me has been so powerful since I was like really small. And it's like, it's almost like the video game as I've leveled up, like my senses have come in more aware. Like I can remember when I first had my first dream in color, or I had the first dream where I had sound, and even to the point when I became more of like an adult, like I have this thing where sometimes my dream space and my waking space overlap. So I'm kind of still awake or I'm kind of still asleep, but the wall or the ceiling isn't there, or there is some sort of shared being, creature, entity kind of still in the space and coming out of that. Um, I really lately have been having these profound dreams more with geographic locations, and that new leveling up is I can actually smell things in my dream space. So it's almost like virtual reality, and the smell of ice and snow and cold uh, has been really profound for me. And I'll wake up and I'll be like, more when was I, not where was I, but like almost this like dawn of creation kind of feelings where I can feel the rock and ice like next to me, and that's been really cool. One quick story I would share too is I posted this poem on my Instagram, Mind Cave Musings, just yesterday, I don't know. um, and it was about sunflowers. And that actually came, I was walking through downtown and I went into this shop looking for a gift for my friend. And the shop owner in there was this really cool guy. And I don't even know how we got talking about it, but we were just talking about life, metaphysics, that kind of thing. And then he was telling me about this dream he had, and this dream of being in this field of sunflowers. And the field went on forever. And each sunflower was just full of seeds, and the seeds would be pushing forth. And in each seed was a whole universe that he could see. And it was just this continuous cycle. And it was a really amazing moment to share with somebody, that connection that I feel like is created in this space too, where we get to connect in that consciousness at that other level. And I had just met him, and like he was sharing this dream with me, which felt so profound and personal and vulnerable. And I relate that too now, thinking back of, I saw briefly at the beginning, you had Peter and Joshua on, and their whole um, mythos and working on understanding the different layers that we're always on, and the hero's journey. And I look at that and I was like, oh, he was offering that man was offering me this gift that I can take into now, and I'm happy to share with you guys, and I get so much in return from that. So this is a great space. Thank you.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you, Flash, as well. Again, just I feel like we're just like having like a slumber party right now, just talking about dreams until we slowly drift off into one. So okay, let's just go around the circle one more time, and then we'll close off this broadcast and encourage everybody to go to sleep if you're watching this live with us or even in the future. So we'll just go around one more time just with any closing thoughts or gratitude, and yeah, and then we'll just do a short version of the meditation with like the dream tree. We'll just kind of like visualize it briefly. Whoever would feel like they got something else to be able to share before we close it off, please feel free to do that. And yeah, and then from there we'll call it a night. So anybody else, just even if it's just gratitude, I know we're all pretty tired at that point. So yep, Kailey, go right ahead.
Yeah, just some closing gratitude. Thank you for the space. It's always awesome to share your dreams. I know I always share them with my partner, and he hears them like every day, and they're always so detailed. Bless him. But it's nice to have a platform to share some of this, and something that I think is so powerful that each and every one of us have access to, like every single day. It's like not everybody meditates every day. but you dream every day, and that is super powerful as well. So I thought of like another sweet dream I had that like synchronistically tied into some things, but I'll save it for the next class because it might be a little bit lengthier. But it's just really cool how things can connect in the real world, in the dream space. So I'll leave it at that.
Cool, awesome, thank you, Kailey. Like honestly, like if you, whether you want to share it today or another time, it's totally up to you. Like I'm okay with either or. Because I mean, like next time's good. It's like 2 months from now, so it's like now it's just like I'm gonna be on the edge of my seat for 2 months. It's like stay tuned until next week's episode, 2 months later. So unless you even just got like a short synopsis or whatever, it's up to you. Whatever you feel.
I can try to package it.
Okay.
So it was actually the night before the dream I had with the angelic being, and it ended up like making sense why I had that dream after the fact. I'll get to that. So in the dream, it was like towards the end of my other dreams, and like all of a sudden I was like waking up in my bed, but it was at my parents' house, at my childhood bedroom. And I looked, and there was I have like a dresser that has a big mirror on it, and there were all of these cameras set up, and they all had they were playing back videos of what I interpreted to be myself, but none of them necessarily looked like me. It was almost like different versions of myself, like different lives. Um, and I remember this girl entered into the room, and she was giving me these instructions, but I kept getting really distracted because I was like, what are those cameras about? And then that girl, she like got a little bit flustered and she left the room. Then another girl came in, and same thing. I was getting distracted. I heard a sound in my closet, and she left. Another girl came in, and this like cloaked figure, came out of the closet. And the girl was in front of me, and she was like really trying to tell me something super important, like giving me instructions on something. But like I was looking at this cloaked figure, and I like reached over to it, and then the cloaked figure like fell down. So I didn't think anything of that dream until a few days later. Elizabeth April, some of you might be familiar with. She's an ambassador. Most people are. She's an ambassador for the Galactic Federation, and she shared a post, which she has a lot of videos. I don't often check in on them, but I felt particularly drawn to this one. And she shared that she kept getting like throughout the day that the Galactic Federation was trying to speak with her. So she got herself into a meditative state and astral projected onto one of the ships. And whenever she got there, she went into this room, and there was like a giant reptilian statue or figure that was in front of her, and it like blocked her from being able to like speak with the rest of the Galactic Federation. So she came out of it. She realized that she was under psychic attack. She protected herself, and then she went back in. And the gist of it is that the Galactic Federation's message is that there was a portal that needed balanced out on Earth. And she explained like that it was like funneling down for the lower dimensional beings, and it needed shifted, where instead of going down into the earth, it funneled up, is how she explained it, which I encourage you all to check it out. It was pretty cool. But in the space, she knew she couldn't do it alone, so they were calling on her to call on other beings to come into the space and help them shift that portal. And she started explaining how she was trying to teach all these people, and she was saying, call on all of the fractals of yourself across dimensions, call on all of yourselves, we need them all here right now. And then she started like giving detailed instructions to everybody on how to close this portal. So then I didn't put it together until like after the fact, but I had that dream where I was seeing on all of the cameras, which seemed to be like different versions of myself, different like lives. And then these girls kept coming in trying to give me instructions, but I was distracted by this cloaked figure. So I thought that tied in super weird. And then, like, especially I had the next night that angelic being dream where it was like, you really need to get your shift together because it's time and the war is coming. Blew my mind how that all tied together after the fact. So I feel like I was being called upon, perhaps, but just couldn't quite answer the call that night. Crazy stuff.
Crazy stuff indeed. 'Tis life. Well, anybody want to did listening to Kailey like get anybody want to reply to Kailey or anything like that? Lacey, is your hand like half up? Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Kailey and Lacey, you guys can just chit chat for a while. That's totally fine. We'll just hang out here for a bit. Yeah. I figured as much. Anybody else? Yeah. Go ahead, Lacey.
Yeah, I know it's like dark. It's really dark. So I'm
Yeah,
like, can you see me?
yeah.
I don't know. Wow, that was really cool to just like hear how that like connected and overlapped. And I definitely, excuse me, think you're completely like, you read that right. Like, as you were saying that, I was like, whoa, like that mirrored exactly what I don't know who that is. Elizabeth April. I'll have to check her stuff out. But yeah, wow, cool. And now we all must answer the call, right? You're waking us all up to that. So that's really, really, I just want to say it was really cool to hear you talk about that. And yeah, you just seem like a cool person. So I, I'm like, hey, I'm like, cool. I was fingers like, just dreaming profound stuff makes my heart grow in size. So yeah, my gratitude is to all you guys. You're all so beautiful and happy to be here with you all. And yeah, I'm just like, that was cool. I like, whoa, so cool.
That's cool.
That's it.
Yeah. I love like seeing just kind of like when people who are like avid dreamers like meet other people who are avid dreamers, there's like this instant kinship where it's just like oh like let's we could talk for hours, we could talk for millennia and stuff like that, and like just knowing that it's something that you can like, because that's the thing, right? And that's what we're building in this community, and you know, in the fractals of the communities outside of and inside of Paradigm Shift, where it's kind of like, yeah, you know, we're incubating the space where what happens when we continue to check in with each other to be able to say like, you know, this is what's happening within the dream space, and then we kind of have this like expanded wisdom and kind of like have like almost like this like hive mind consciousness, and we start to see like this like bigger story again with what Kailey's saying. Like that's not just it with a lot of us, it's not just like a dream, like it's information, and that information can be incredibly valuable for what it is that we may be moving into as well. So yeah, I'm sure we'll flash forward like 15 years from now, we'll probably like look back on this and we'll be like, whoa, like we were like onto some pretty, you know, we were onto something there, something like that. So yeah, looking forward to it. So cool. All right. I think were we gonna get close to wrapping it up? I can't. Did I say that like 2 hours ago? I forget. This always happens. So okay. Kai, closing thoughts, give or take. Yeah. Kailey, thank you again. Lacey, thank you again.
Yeah, just immense gratitude. Like it's been so amazing. Tonight, I've been just so re-inspired to, you know, put the value in dreaming again, and it helped me too. Like, because I realized I've been like a closet dreamer. Like I every once in a while I might like try to describe a dream to my friend, but it's like you just see them like just gloss over. So for me, it's always been like I had a couple of those experiences where I'm a little bit hesitant. Of like it is vulnerable to share your dreams, but yeah, now I know I have a crew to be able to speak with, and yeah, it is for me to like see those dreams as important, and there's like it's as just as important with dreaming as my waking life. So thank you everyone here for just sharing your dreams and getting me so excited and inspiring me to dream and to share. Thank you
Absolutely.
everyone.
Kai, thank you again. And I'm like, I have like excitement for like other people's dreams tonight. Like for Kai, I'm like, Kai, you're gonna dream of something tonight. Like it's gonna be something epic's around the corner, and so we like hype each other up and stuff like that. But again, like just for all of us to have like that collective intention, you know, to not only like wish good dreams for ourselves, but to actually like wish good dreams for each other. Like, whoa, like that's kind of like new territory to almost kind of like, it's kind of interesting because you kind of get into like this like benevolent process where it's just like maybe the universe does that, where it's like if you wish for dreams for yourself, the universe is like meh. But if you're just like, I wish good dreams for others, and then if we all just kind of wish for good dreams for each other, then it goes around the whole circle, and then it's just like, oh, it's like a life hack or something like that, some sort of manifestation hack or something. I don't know, maybe we're onto something there. But again, I do feel having like some sort of group incubated intention is so powerful. So I mean, again, you know, for leading members within Paradigm Shift, we do have the dream channels within the Discord, and again, you know, as much as I say this to you, I'm saying it to myself to be able to use that to be able to record our dreams in the morning, even if it's like something super little. Like that's the step. Even if it's just kind of like dream log, barely anything, but I'm writing it anyways. And then you come back again tomorrow and, you know, you add a little bit more detail and texture to it. And yeah, it just kind of grows over time. And really encouraging people here to like practice, you know, practice doing either voice recordings. If you really want to go for it, even just practice like filming yourself first thing in the morning talking about it. I used to do this back in the day more, back when like it was more like YouTube stuff and not as like cell phone mobile videos and stuff like that. And it was actually like, I don't know, like somehow, and again, this the pro tip, right? Like sleeping with your cell phone next to you like destroys dreams. Like waking up in the morning and checking your phone like zaps your dreams like right away, right? And I'm a sucker for that too. You know, like it's literally like this like mission of willpower when you wake up in the morning and there's like the instinct to be like, gotta check the gram, like gotta do that. But if you just kind of like make sure that it's just that first instinct is to be able to, if anything, just like lie back down and just kind of sit there and reflect, or do a little voice memo, or sit yourself up on your bed, pull out your camera and be like, okay, what did I remember? And maybe you'll post that video to YouTube or something like that. Maybe you won't. Maybe it's just for your practice. But I used to do that more back in the day, where I would like literally film myself like, you know, like half asleep first thing in the morning looking haggard. But it was cool. And I think doing it actually like developed the habit where more stuff came through. And it's weird. Like seriously, I go back and watch those videos and I'm like, damn man, like I haven't had dreams like that in a while. And honestly, like for me, part of my motivation is knowing for myself and for all of us, like the potential that I have for my dreams, and then almost getting sad that that's not what I'm experiencing currently, because I know what it's like. I know what it's like to be there, and then for me to just be like, that's something that's really really important for me, and the fact that that's missing makes me sad, but it also motivates me knowing that there is the potential to be able to go back to that, and to just make that choice. Like that's what it is. It's not like, oh, I wish I could go back to that. It's like, no, I can go back to that. I have to make the choice though. So it's a willpower thing, you know, it's a heart thing. So yeah, no, if you guys feel called to do like little video things, like if we all get into the habit of doing that, like please, by all means, you know, like, and even, you know, for people who write their dreams, Kailey, Lacey and stuff like that, it could be a thing where like you write it out first and then you go get your coffee, you wake up and then be like, here's my dream story. And you just kind of read it. And honestly, doing that, guaranteed there will be other people in the community who will be very inspired by that, and they'll be like, ooh, like I could do this too, right? And then together we're holding up that cup to be able to receive this information, this data. And then again, kind of going back to that axiom, I feel it's, I know Lacey said it earlier, but I feel like this should be like the slogan for all of us. It's like, we are dreaming for everyone. We are dreaming for each other. You know, like dreaming can become a very altruistic thing where it's not just like, oh, I just want to do it for the fascination, but it's like, no, you want to do it because you want to like deepen the awareness and the experience of the soul, and to have that both for yourself and the collective as well. So if I am in the zone tomorrow, straight up, I will roll myself out of bed and record something off my webcam and see what I can do. Like I want to do that. Like I want to do that. So hold me accountable, please, and I will do the same for you, and we will hold each other up. So cool. Okay. Lacey, go ahead, and then we're just kind of finishing up here. So go ahead, Lacey. Yep.
Yeah, I just want to jump in real quick, and then I'll like be done talking. But yeah, that's a great idea. And I think if everyone that's present right now, I know that our daily lives, we all have, you know, work and we're busy, and some of us might have children, but if we can sit here right now and like as a group, we're all in this little like thing that we're creating, set an intention for the week, and we'll specifically set it for our dream time. And I mean, that could be anything. I mean, Brendon keeps talking about a chalice. So for me, I like to look at dream time. Sometimes I just set intentions of what do I need to hear right now, but you can specifically set intentions for adventures or for people or characters or things that you want to interact with. And definitely my favorite thing to do is go for a treasure hunt. So I would say let's set an intention for finding our treasure and see what happens and see what we dream this week. So let's put that out there. And what I would do is, like, as you lay in bed before you go to sleep tonight and for the rest of the week, each night, I usually lay there and I really, really sit with it in my mind's eye. You know, you're not thinking of exactly what it is. You're just inviting it in. And you'll be surprised. That's all I'll say. You'll be really surprised at like where it'll take you. So I know it's pretty ambiguous, like treasure, but that could be anything, right? So it's up for you to just like at the end of the week, be like, maybe we could all type it out or discuss it with each other or video it and be like, I found my treasure, you know, and this is what it was. So that's all I wanted to say. I was like, let's set an intention together as a group. So
That's such a great idea. And Lacey, thank you for reminding us. And again, for those of you who've been tuned into past broadcasts, you probably heard us talk about this. And again, you know, it's something that will just naturally evolve over time. But again, you know, like we've mentioned before, the idea of like Lacey, you know, wanting to be able to help kind of like facilitate digital space for these type of things within community, and the idea of like doing it through a Discord and stuff like that. Stay tuned for that. You know, like that's something, again, you know, I can't say where and when, but I mean, just us talking about that, kind of going back, because again, life has been life, but I can feel like the excitement. And Lacey, I just want to mention that in a way where I'm just like you are such the person to be able to hold space for that, because like a lot of people are just like, I want to hang out with Lacey and talk about dreams. Like I would love to follow Lacey's leadership to be able to say like, yes, Lacey, like what is the intention for this week? Let's do it together. And then to just kind of have these like little Zoom calls and have that Discord space, like, you know, Paradigm Shift, we have like a couple channels, but you know, there's like another space that, you know, when the time is right and stuff, I would love to be there, and for other people to be there. I think that would be like a great little fractal where it's like really just intentional for the dream space, and to just like really kind of like dive deep and have these side discussions and see what that would, again, kind of like bring to the surface as well. So I don't know, Lacey, if you wanted to reply to
I did want to reply to that. Thank you guys for seeing that in me. I'm definitely leaning into that more. Tonight I'm more comfortable on camera for sure. I feel less anxious. I definitely never really see myself in a leading role. So I mean, we'll be co-creating. I definitely don't want to, you know, take the seat or anything like that. But I'm really excited about that, and I would love to do that with you guys. Absolutely. And Brendon really helps me, you know, bring out the things that, you know, I'm passionate about in that way, and to be able to share with you guys, because I do want to hear what you all are dreaming, and not just dreaming, but what you're living and your stories and all of that, because it's meaningful to me too. So thank you, Brendon, and thanks everyone. Love you guys.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you as well, Lacey. And again, shout out to everybody here, because I feel like every single one of us has the potential to like create these little communities with these little fractals and with these additional dream discussions. So, you know, just because Lacey's doing it doesn't mean that anybody else here can't do it. And again, you know, shout out Mason. Again, I know you're looking to be able to incubate space, and that's the idea. Like whether it's Lacey's space or Mason's space, there's always more people who will be looking for spaces like that. And so like the more the better in that sense. So I mean, for anybody here, if you feel called to be able to like host some sort of event about dream discussion and things like that, we'll be, again, you know, like with the coming weeks and months of Paradigm Shift, I do really want to be able to bring a lot more focus back into the community to be able to help you guys with creating those events and creating those discussions and creating those communities. That's something that means so much to me, because again, I know when I'm helping you do that, it's creating like this ripple effect that's helping other people in ways that, you know, it's hard to even put like a scale on and stuff like that. So that's so powerful. Yeah, maybe Clubhouse and stuff like that, doing like these discussions on Clubhouse or whatever. And again, and not as like a thing for like clout or anything like that, but literally, and I think that's the beauty of it. It's like, you know, us here having this discussion tonight, I didn't promote this really big this week. Like, I actually wanted it to just be kind of intimate because I felt that's what my heart needed. Where I'm just like, it's like whatever. Like, I would actually prefer to just kind of like be with the people who are here for this reason, for the community, who really vibe with this, and to really just kind of like build that out, you know, and to start small, with that seed. Because I think, again, you know, like that's where we build the roots. And so, yeah, you know, I really just encourage everybody here. You're all leaders. You're all portals in your own way, and every single one of us can kind of, again, create this sacred space to be able to invite people to have these important discussions. And again, that's what Paradigm Shift is all about. You know, whether it's online or in person and stuff like that. So cool. I love you guys. This is fun. This is exactly what I needed tonight. So beautiful. This is like, seriously, like this is Paradigm Shift. This is why I created it. It's like this kind of space where it's just like really chill and vibing, and us having a good time and supporting each other. So about things we're passionate about. Okay, let's just get close to closing off. Mason, did you want to jump in with anything just before we get closed off and stuff like that? And then anybody else? Yeah, go ahead, Mason.
Just want to drop some gratitude for everyone here. Being able to share on dreams is something I do with people that I'm close with, but to be able to expand it out to the internet feels very powerful. And I just want to thank each and every one of you who tuned in or are live on air for allowing me and everyone else to express our dreams, because just imagining what can come of us like connecting our dream webs and that sense of the manner is really exciting. So thank you.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you, Mason. Anybody else here? Just any closing gratitude? Yeah, Flash, do you want to jump in? Yeah, go for it.
Just thank you so much, and I am excited to go on a treasure hunt tonight. So
yes,
thanks.
Cool. Awesome. Anybody else? Leeza? Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say thank you for the love. Thank you for the encouragement. Thank you for the ideas, the advice, and the space. And just thank you guys for everything tonight. Mwah, mwah. Love you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah. We'll continue this discussion in some sort of like astral city spaceship. Who's flying the spaceship tonight? We gotta coordinate this, right? Okay. All right. Okay. Cool. Anybody else just for closing gratitude? And honestly, like, I'm not even going to do the whole tree meditation tonight. We'll just kind of close it off with our breath and just kind of like collectively set that intention to be able to. And what should our intention be? Like, what should we close it off with? Is there something like very clear we can dial in on? I know we were talking about the idea of kind of like going on a treasure, but again, just kind of if there's something broader, I'm asking you guys if you feel, what collective intention can we just kind of end this broadcast with to be able to bring into the dream space for tonight? And, you know, maybe beyond that. Any thoughts? Way to articulate it? Maybe it'll just be a feeling. Again, kind of like just like that openness, that willingness. So, yeah. Lacey? Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess like we could close off with, just like how you were saying with our breath and connection. Like I'm thinking, and a couple people are like a cup or a chalice. So what do we want to fill our cup with? And I'm envisioning my cup as we close this with with light and with love and with like any message that I want to bring forth into the world over the next week. So just with like love, our cup with love, which is
fill
our heart.
Cup with love. Fill our hearts with
Yeah,
love.
fill our cup.
The heart
Yeah,
is
the heart
is the cup. So cool. Lacey, do you want to try something crazy? Do you want to just try like inviting people to close their eyes and connect with our heart right now? Want to try that? We don't even have to call it. I'm inviting you to. We don't even have to call it a meditation. We could just say like, let's just take a moment to just kind of like connect with that intention that you basically just communicated already. So
okay, sure,
cool. Okay, when you're ready, Lacey, go ahead.
Okay. So we're going to connect with our heartbeat. We're going to feel it as it moves through our whole body, And we're going to envision our heart as a chalice, as the Holy Grail, and it's open to receiving wisdom and love from the higher realms, also from everyone that's here tonight who has shared their heart and their dreams. So we're just going to see that golden light just pouring into it. It's pouring into our hearts right now. And we're going to carry that with us into our dreams tonight. Yeah. That's what I'm picturing. So
Beautiful. Awesome. I can feel it. I can see it. So like as we just like kind of breathe into it, it's like this image that we're holding, imagine it just becoming like crisper. Like it almost becomes like from like standard definition to high definition. So just take a moment here to just kind of breathe and just kind of imagine like a luminance appearing within this image.
I love that. I'll be able to drink from this cup too. Like that's what I'm seeing. Once it's full, this golden like liquid, I'm able to consume it. And it's kind of like this infinite thing. It's always full now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just keeps pouring, like you're drinking it and it's going back in. Interesting, that visual just came to me, but
I feel it.
Yeah.
And it's so full that we can share it with others, and we can be like, here, like have some too.
Let's have some too. Yeah, and it's gonna help us find the treasure that we seek, and that treasure could be anything. It could be a note. It could be a beautiful sunset. It could be an old friendly face or something like that, you know? So words of wisdom from some alien being even, but it could be simple. It still is powerful, still is meaningful. So
yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited to dream.
Take an extra moment here, just kind of everybody here, just kind of like become familiar with this feeling, and then when you go to sleep tonight, go back to this feeling. Like use this feeling as almost like a lotus, a center point. And then from here, just everybody we'll just fall asleep right now. Fall asleep.
Big cuddle puddle.
Yeah, big cuddle puddle. Just a couple more breaths, and then we'll bring ourselves back. I think slowly, when we're ready, we can slowly just bring ourselves back to this physical space around us. Keep that image within your heart. Nice and gentle. Awesome. So everybody just slowly makes their way back. Just kind of take a moment here, just kind of look at each other, if anything. It's kind of, seriously, this is like one of my favorite things to do. Just kind of like switch it over to gallery view and just kind of like, just take a moment here and just kind of like, just see each other. That's all. Just kind of see each other. Just like these beautiful smiling faces and friends and family, and yeah. So cute. Cool. Brady Bunch got nothing on us. We're like the Dream Bunch. Need a theme song or something. So, this is a story of a bunch of dreamers who were awakening within the dream. They were getting all nice and lucid, and not everything was what it seemed. They were talking to blue aliens and transforming into dragons. Oh my goodness, all the magical things that can happen. Oh, it's the Lucid Bunch, the Lucid Bunch, the Lucid Bunch, the Lucid Bunch. They're just a bunch of quirky, beautiful Lucid Bunch. Starlight. Beautiful. Yeah, I wrote that ahead of time. I'm glad I finally got to use that song. So, cool. Awesome. All right, you guys ready to wrap it up? I think at this point we'll just we'll finish the recording. We can keep the room open for a bit if you guys just want to chill out here for a bit. That's not a problem. Like, we literally could just kind of like hang out here for a little bit more, but we'll finish the recording. So cool. All right, so with that said, thank you again, everyone, so much for joining in. Be sure to connect with all the people that you met on air tonight through the links in the YouTube info. We got all their Instagrams there, so you can be sure to just follow up, send them a DM, and show some gratitude there. Just find us on Spotify, Paradigm Shift Radio. Maybe tell a friend or two about what it is that we got going on. Check the past Dream Class podcasts if you enjoyed those. Links in the info. And yeah, again, if you're like looking to be able to join on air for for the weekly team podcast and the other cool stuff that we got going on in Paradigm Shift, be sure to check out the Patreon and go ahead and connect to our Discord there as well for more content from leading members in our community. So cool. All right, well, I think that's everything for tonight, and yeah, stay tuned. We'll be back again, and maybe I don't know what's next week's podcast topic. Are we gonna talk about video games? We'll figure it out. We'll maybe, or I feel like maybe like or like symbolism in movies and stuff like that. I like going back to that one, or like stories or books or media that's influenced us or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, something like that. Something that'd be pretty cool. So creative, awesome, cool. All right, as we all just collectively yawn. Let's do that game where it's like, who's not don't yawn. Last one to yawn wins. It's like, I'm not people watching this on Spotify are yawning too, so cool. Ooh, cool. Okay, all right, so that's a good point to be able to wrap it up. Thank you again, everyone, so much, and yeah, keep writing down your dreams and keep opening your heart and stay lucid, and we love you guys, and we'll see you next time, and we'll see you in the Discord. So much love, as always. Keep it shifty, and welcome to the future. So everybody here, please feel free to just join me in saying goodnight to everybody as we bring up the outro music. So good night, everyone. We love you guys.
Good night, everyone.
Sweet dreams. Sweet dreams. Find your treasure. We love you guys. Beautiful. Take care, everyone. Much love. Awesome. Special thank you to Danny Leonardo, whose music is featured at the beginning and end of this broadcast. Be sure to check out more of Danny's work in the YouTube info below. Thank you, Danny.